Before I start the show, I'm excited to announce that our Patreon is live. Patreon's a direct link between content creators and their community, which allows listeners like you to fund the show directly. For just $5 a month, become a light dusting member, enjoying merch discounts, a free t-shirt, and access to ad-free episodes. Level up to the $15 solid snowfall tier, and also enjoy exclusive invites to on-hill meetups, a free sweatshirt, and a monthly shot at winning prizes, which include this month's prize, a wired snowboard. The first draw will be at the end of November, so sign up today by going to Patreon, Patreon, and searching FNRad. Every little bit helps. Thank you very much. The FNRad Snowboard Podcast is presented by Skyview Campers. This game-changing tiny home camper is built by Never Summer in Denver, Colorado. Inspired by Frank Lloyd Wright's architecture, these 12-foot lightweight campers at just 1,500 pounds are a masterpiece in design. Enjoy sleeping like royalty under the stars on a true queen-size mattress with a moonroof in your secure home-like bedroom surrounded by ample ventilation and shades for privacy. Stay cozy with a propane heating system and enjoy well-lit interiors powered by rooftop solar panels. And when it's time to cook, ingenious exterior countertops include a sink and a double-burner stove, all under a giant batwing awning. Skyview Campers, redefining adventure. Visit skyviewcampers.com to start your journey today. Wired Snowboards offers quality hand-built custom snowboards built and tested in the coastal mountains. Wired has built me several one-of-a-kind boards that have stood up to my daily shred habit. In fact, my first Wired Chase is still my go-to PAL board after 7 seasons. Wired brings my imagination into existence. That's fucking rad. Check out wiredsnowboards.com and design yourself a board to last a lifetime. Fixed snowboard bindings are simple, durable, and functional, featuring tool-free adjustments and a lifetime warranty on buckles and base trays. Fix makes bindings you can count on. Jason Bros created Fix after a bald-faced trip where his bindings failed and he vowed to build the world something better. I've been riding Fix buckles for the last 3 seasons and they're still like brand new. He's on to something. Fix, snowboard bindings built better. Rip Curl outerwear is designed to search further in the snow, offering strength, durability, and all-around performance. Whether you're venturing into the backcountry or on the resort, Rip Curl outerwear's got you covered. With a team that includes Chris Rasman and DCP, you can be confident that Rip Curl prides itself on creating jackets and pants with technical features that will keep you comfortable on your search. For over 35 years, the Boardroom Snowboard Shop has been Vancouver's premier snowboard shop. Check out the Boardroom's unmatched selection of snowboards, bindings, boots, outerwear, and everything you need to shred. The Boardroom's passionate staff and performance guarantee ensures you'll love what you buy. And remember, the Boardroom ships to anywhere in North America, so go to boardroomshop.com or visit their stores in Vancouver and North Van. The Boardroom Snowboard Shop. Outlive your friends with New Green's turbocharged organic drink mix. New Green's is a great tasting 100% organic, vibrant green juice mix, and they include sprouted seeds that leave the food in its most natural, healthful raw state for fast digestion and maximum health. Use code FNRAD at newgreens.com for 20% off your new daily breakfast routine. New Greens, my daily go-to. Stay tuned after the show for a chance to try New Greens for free. Support also comes from Mount Seymour, Grouse Mountain, Cypress Mountain, the Pro Standard GoPro accessories, and our friends at 1910. You can use code FNRAD at checkout for 20% off at 1910.com. I've set the intention that FNRad Season 9 will include a big focus on mental wellness, so I'm stoked to be partnering with The Haven on beautiful Gabriola Island. The Haven's 40 years of experience sharing knowledge about how to live more effectively as humans has helped many people. I just got back from a 5-day retreat, and I'd describe the experience as transformative. I know I've spoken a lot about psychedelic-assisted therapy, so I feel the need to say this was not that, and it was just awesome. The Haven has a full range of programs based on a foundation of radical honesty. Tap into your inner resources and liberate yourself from self-defeating patterns within the context of a group in it together, helping to provide empathy, witnessing, and self-acceptance. Go to haven.ca for more program information and use FNRad 10 at checkout for a discount. Also, feel free to DM me your questions about the Haven. Andrew Hardingham and Jonas Guinn are two incredible pro snowboarders from the Alberta Rockies who've spent enough time hunting, fishing, and snowboarding sketchy lines together to be the kind of friends who finish each other's sandwiches. Both competed in the 90s and later transitioned into world-class backcountry snowboarders. Some of the gnarly rock rides they've filmed have still not been replicated, much less surpassed. Andrew, the louder and more comical one, is complemented by Jonas, the quieter, still comical one, and to catch the two together was pure magic. Here's a unique buddy duo of amazing snowboarders, Andrew Hardingham and Jonas Guinn.
Everything's different, but the services are actually quite affordable. I believe it's about $189 for a mobile service where we come to you, and then whatever tests they want after that. Thanks for the call, and also just call me anytime. All right, bye-bye. My apologies. It's my other life.
This is a perfect way to start, I think. So if I have syphilis right now, you could we could know in 10 minutes?
You have no idea how fast I can find your syphilis. I'm like a cancer dog. We just do smell.
Those cancer dogs are real.
Yeah.
I heard a podcast on that.
It's been in your system for 34 hours, 34 and a half. Wait, 35 and a half hours. You dog. Where were you? That's late. That's how we do it.
Yeah. How did you get into that? That seems insane. I guess it's not insane. Every pro snowboarder that had to move on had to get a fucking job.
Yeah.
So this is your job.
Yeah. And you know what? Pro snowboarding is incredible, and it took me around the world, and I knew exactly what it was the whole time I did it, and I wouldn't even save a year. I wouldn't knock a year off that career. And I had to be a hustler too, because if you can't talk or talk people into supporting you, you're not going to go very far. You need rich parents, or you need a sugar daddy or mommy.
Yeah.
But I managed to scrape by the whole time independently, and I had really supportive sponsors who didn't pay me a lot, but they paid me enough to feed me with alcohol and macaroni and cheese. Craft dinner, we call it up here in Canada. And that's the reason you and me know each other, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I was a huge fan.
Yeah.
I'm the quirk guy. I like the quirk stuff.
You've been in this so long, though.
For like podcasting? Yeah.
Well, as long as I've been on social media, I've known about you.
That's incredible. That's rad to hear.
And I was a little bit late to social media, but I've been on it for a long time.
You did a podcast with the Snowboard Project.
Yeah.
And who was on that podcast with you? Didn't you do? No. You did a couple pilots, or like a pilot.
Oh,
project
you know about that?
Fuck, of course I do.
Hambird.
Yes.
Yeah.
With
Willie Millinchamp. From
best,
Jackson Hole.
The absolute best human.
Bluebird.
Unbelievable.
Wax. He's like the truth
of
Central American snowboarding. He just calls it out. He calls it like it is. And he's got a smirk on his face when he does it. And that's what I like about him. He's not cynical where he's upset about everything. Like he came up with the sticker, snowboarding, we liked it better when you hated us.
Yes.
And just basically saying when it was a rivalry between skiing and snowboarding.
100%.
And that we hit it off since the trade show's been in Vegas, and that was like 10 years before it left Vegas.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So, and we just had this odd mutual respect. We knew of each other, never met, but we'd always see each other in Vegas and just be like, "Hey, dude," and he'd go, "Hey." come in here. I want to show you the back room of my wax booth.
Right.
And like, that's fucking creepy. I like that about you. I hope it's a stripper. I hope it. And then he just give me some wax.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he sold wax, so he couldn't afford strippers.
Right.
Clearly.
Yeah, you had to be ride to do that.
Yeah, you had to be ride.
You had to do
K2 Corp.
K2 Corp. That was pre K2 when they had the strippers in the booth.
Remember?
I do.
Like,
Yellow
what
Bus.
happened?
Remember Yellow Bus getting kicked out? They're driving the bus
Yellow?
out and like so
Yellow
like, the
Bus?
shape. Oh my god,
Dude, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't want to be like I said up on the hill today. I don't want to be the back in the day. What I will say, without saying back in the day, when I just started getting into snowboarding, I just snowboarded for like 2 years because I was just rolling around and having my friends ride up my snowboard when I was upside down because we couldn't find a jump or whatever.
Rad.
That was snowboarding. And then what I mean by this is when I got into like the industry of snowboarding and I'd look at the brochures for next year's boards. Joyride, I remember they always had the best graphics for a 14-year-old.
Absolutely.
Now I think they all suck. Not their new boards, but back then it was like
Really? You look
Smokey
at those
the Bear.
graphics? Yeah, no, I love that graphic
I'm like
still.
a clean
The Fuego,
OCD nut.
I got you.
So now I
got
can't
you.
handle that. But
Yeah,
what you said
yeah.
was Yellow Bus.
Yep.
So as an LA project, we had to write one letter to any company and have anything in it. And Yellow Bus didn't exist even in snowboarding almost. This was like their first year launch. I didn't even really know what it was, but I saw it in a magazine.
Rad.
I think it was a snowboarder. And this is even before Snowboarder released the mag that said snow skate or snow ski. And that's when they drew the line and they said, we're doing one direction and we're cutting the other one. We're cutting carvers out.
Right.
Hardboarders.
Right.
And that was even before, and this is Yellow Bus. And I remember I wrote my letter to Yellow Bus.
Wow.
I've never even thought about this. And I saw it, it was an ad in the back, like normally where the transvestite ads are in porno mags.
Yes.
It was way back there, little tiny black and white or whatever. They'll probably be like, it was color. My mom helped us buy that ad. So, and it said, send $1 and your address and we'll send you a sticker. So I was like, stickers are currency. I'm 14.
Too easy. Yeah.
So I send it, off it goes. I get basically an A in English.
Sick.
Fuck, that was easy.
Yeah.
And it was just like, hey, y'all guys, I'm a snowboarder from Bam. It's pretty cool. I really liked your ad.
I really
And
want to know, did you
guess
get
what?
the sticker?
Never got a sticker,
Of
right?
course
so,
you didn't.
So I was pretty offended and I was pretty bummed out. And
Sure.
I was like, fuck these guys.
You
They're supposed
guys.
to be like down with
Tom
the
Nordwall,
noobs.
what are you doing?
So, but then like maybe 9 months later, I got a reply and they had sent the sticker right away to the wrong postal address. So clearly he had astigmatism or possibly he was drunk or high back then
Or both. Yeah.
or high
Yeah.
with stigmatism. But the whole industry was young, so no one had astigmatism yet. So
Not yet.
it couldn't have been that. It was drunk and high.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're Yellow Bus.
Yellow Bus, dude. That's so sick.
And I still don't really know what it is. I remember seeing some boards come out.
It was boards.
And- But I got my sticker.
They built boards for other people too. The Yellow Bus factory built some Ice Age
So they were
boards
smart.
that was like a part of.
Wow,
like,
so they were business people.
Yeah, they were business people.
They just couldn't write
Actually,
postal codes. They probably thought it was a zip code.
Didn't-
Oh, what's this weird number at the bottom?
Didn't Ice Age try and get you on the team? Were you one of the people that they went after?
Ice
Age.
Age. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Nobody went after me. Trust
Nobody
me.
went after you.
Never.
Come on, that's surprising.
I've never been hunted.
Nobody was like, "We want you for the team. You fit
Never.
this perfectly."
It's all been. I would go to Vegas.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. Listen to this nerdy shit.
I love this.
I was business savvy. I had that brain, even though I didn't know I had it. But obviously, to last 18 years professional snowboarding and not have to take a second job, I'm proud of myself.
Yeah, you had it.
So
you had it.
I'm not brag. That isn't a brag. I made like $28,000 a year.
That's pretty good money.
I know I wasn't in the 1%. Damn
You
it. So
It's close.
I'll get there. I'll make my 32. So I would go to every Vegas trade show with every good shot I had published, my covers, whatever.
That's smart.
And it was like this ridiculously huge resume with photos and everything. And I'd go and I'd give it I would only have about 10 because they cost me a fortune. They were like $38 to color photocopy and put in these binders.
Right. At Kinko's, is there, Andrew, at Kinko's?
Man, I'm a small town boy. I don't even know what Kinko's is.
That's
I've heard it referenced, so I assume it's like a big old Staples.
Big copier place.
I just went down to Bow Valley Office Supplies, got my shit done on probably a low res machine, and I was proud of that photo res. I just dug my photo resume out from Vegas.
Oh my god!
Because I filed all my magazines.
Good for you. That's awesome.
Because that was my money. No team manager would ever call you and say, "Hey, you got a shot in meth and mag in Europe.
Right.
We owe you $250."
Right.
You had to find it. So I had to.
Yeah.
That was
it's a business.
Fun
That's what the business is.
If you could call it business, but it was like the hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was D&D. I must find the realm of the emerald, which is Method Magazine.
I did it the same. I mean, I was an enthusiast.
Yellow Bus.
But as an enthusiast, I could sometimes get shots in magazines. It was crazy. I got some shots in, everything.
What was your first?
Snowboard Canada. A no-grab, hands in the air ballerina spin on a Rad Air Monk.
So was it a sequence?
No. The guy shot a sequence, but they did not want to put any of that in there.
So you can't prove it was a spin?
No, you could see from the way that I'm in my body.
Could have been a shifty.
It could have been shifty. You're right.
In which case, you would have still gone 365 degrees.
Yeah, could have.
363?
360.
360.
360 and then
364 degrees?
Yeah. 365 is a full year of spinning.
I think we're cracking a code here. Let's keep on this.
But my best friend, Chris, that I lived with, he got the LibTech. He did a nice frontside air with the grab in there. I was so jealous because
that's that competitive edge in you, though.
Yeah, I was like,
you wanted a better shot than him.
Oh, for sure, 100%. Then Chris, come on.
That's why you're still doing this. Is because you do have a competitive drive.
Yeah. And he's still my good friend. Like, it was so fun. Like,
who won though in the end? Who got the better shot?
In the end,
Chris,
I think I got the better shot.
But
Chris always got the better of me in that, like, we were at Hood one year, like, this is like 95.
Yeah.
And now I'm talking about myself, which is something I try not to do as much when I have an amazing guest like you. So
I want to learn about you too.
All right. So Chris comes down. I got food poisoning or altitude sickness at Hood.
STDs. I know.
STD.
I know. I've got a few. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like out for the day. He comes down and syphilis. I go, did you ride with that Kevin guy? Kevin Jones was staying at where we were. He goes, yeah, he's pretty good. I think I'm as good as him. And I was like, what? You were spinning those jumps that he was spinning? He's like, yeah, I was spinning those jumps. Like, he was so casual about saying I'm as good as Kevin Jones that my heart sank. And I was like, I will never beat Chris. He's so much better than me. He's riding as good as Kevin Jones. Are you kidding me? Fuck, I'm fucked.
You beat him in editorial, but maybe he beat you in psychology.
Yeah, he did for sure.
Because the snowboarding thing's just education.
He wasn't trying. He didn't care.
He didn't care.
He still to this day
doesn't care. Was he one of those guys?
Care.
He really doesn't care. Chris?
I swear to God,
Chris, you sound
he
cool.
Didn't ride for 15 years. He came down on a Hood trip and he was hitting the big jumps and just going for it.
Back on the bike.
Yeah, back on the bike. It's Chris.
So it's psychology. That's why he might have beat you in the psychology field.
He did.
You got him in the editorial.
Definitely.
You guys should lay everything out one day.
We could do it.
And count and measure millimeters.
Yeah, because he was the guy from growing up as a kid. I would jump off a bigger cliff than him, and he would just back out. And I couldn't even be like, hey, I'm better than you. You should go to the next one up. He was like, fuck, I'm not jumping off that cliff. I don't want to get hurt. He was that guy, which was still psychologically, it was like, fuck. Well,
why is he backing out?
Yeah, why is he backing out?
What's going on there, Chris?
Was it lame that I jumped that?
Do you see a rock
cliff?
you want to tell me about? Are you trying to end me? Am I your number one competitor?
And
does Sally like us
surfing?
Both?
Fuck. So he was the cool guy by default. He was the cool surfer guy. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry you had that experience.
I love this guy. I'm so
Sounds
glad
like you're still plotting against him. You're going to end him.
He just came back from Bali and he brought me a tie-dyed shirt.
Ballet.
Yeah,
he
ballet.
Loves ballet too.
Yeah, surfing and ballet.
Very technical. I went to Bali to do ballet.
Yes. Yeah, because he's a surfer.
Water ballet, I think they call that. Surfing.
Yep. On a foil. Sorry, Chris Rasman.
Foil. Foiling.
Yeah, foiling. Have you foiled? Seems like that would be
I'm
up your alley.
a half owner of a hair salon, and we do a lot of foils.
Foiling.
That's when you change the color of.
Do you ever test someone for syphilis when they're sitting in the chair?
I don't test anybody.
No?
To be honest, I know I told you that earlier. I just set it up.
Okay.
I just want.
You're the middleman.
I don't want to abolish STDs because they need to be there. They have to warn us. They have to make us smart. But I come from Banff, which until that dirty Whistler came along, we were the STD capital of Canada. Rolling Stones magazine 2 years in a row, and then Whistler, we have more sex than you, and they won, and they did. They beat us by a landslide. But it's easy to move on and say, well, then we don't have STDs anymore, but we do. Let me tell you.
Still do.
Yeah.
It's your business.
So I just want to fix it.
You made it your business. Was that conscious or subconscious? You're like, hey,
it's
STD
such a long
capital of the world.
It's not a long story, but it's a story that buys me lovers and haters.
Got you.
And I'm okay how about I give it to you in a nutshell?
Let's do the nutshell.
After snowboarding, I started a event company. I do boutique spirits, so I do the Banff Whiskey Experience, and I tried to, during COVID, I thought it would be a challenge to start an event.
That's a great idea.
So I started the Banff Whiskey Tequila and Mezcal Festival, not Banff Whiskey. That never launched because no hotel would give me the space, even though I was going to test everyone. So I bought all these tests so that I could test all the clients, like 1,000. Yeah. And I was going to be the first event. Make it safe, right? Or whatever you want to think about that.
Absolutely.
Make it government happy.
Yes.
And they just shut me down. They said, no, we can't have more than 50 people, and I couldn't make money. So anyway, it's been off for 3 years. But what happened was I ended up with all these tests. So I said, fuck, this is thousands of dollars in tests. I got to try to sell these. And I found out real quick, I'm not allowed to sell medical supplies online.
Okay.
I basically was reached out to by a company that organized these tests, and they said, hey, can you set up a few of these testing sites for us? And so they hired me to do that, and I did a really fast, crazy job all over Western Canada. Set up a whole bunch so that travelers could get home because the government was blowing it.
Yeah.
72 hours to get your results back.
That was nuts.
If you even could get a reservation, and you had to wait in these lines. I was like, come on. I'm from a service industry town. This is not okay. The Canadian government is blowing it.
Yeah.
They put all these rules on you, and then they won't solve the problem. So whatever you want to think about that, I don't care. I never talk about COVID politics. I just talk about the psychology of it. We made it so you could drive through, not get out of your car, get swabbed, and it wasn't my company. I worked for some other people, and you could get swabbed, and we would get your results within 45 minutes. And you could get on a plane. You could basically do it on the way.
Yeah.
So then after that, after all that craziness ended, we kept wanting to solve some of the problems of Canadian healthcare. I know this is boring as hell.
No, this is dope.
We've all sat in an emergency room for 4 hours for like a cut.
Yeah.
Because they're so overrun, and it's a massive problem. So what we're doing now in Banff is we're going to try to do the fastest testing in Canada. We're not going to try. We already do.
Nice.
So we can do anything instead of 48 hours through public health care, we can do it in 2 hours.
That's amazing.
With results.
That's sick.
Anyway.
It's a niche.
That's that.
It's a niche.
And I enjoy it because I actually had a testing site set up at the bottom of Sunshine.
Are you kidding me?
A year ago.
What?
I'm not even kidding.
That's
unreal. It was a trailer.
That's crazy. Yeah, we called the Mexican version of you. Like, so we found out, like, oh shit, we're flying tomorrow. There's no test at the airport. The fuck are we gonna do? So, and the truck that said
right?
1 hour testing,
fly,
I went to the 1 hour testing truck. It's closed. So I go to the 1 hour testing clinic, and I'm like, okay, we need to get tested. They're like, we are closed for the day, and it takes 24 hours. I said, well, then why does it say 1 hour? And they were like, that's your problem, not ours, right?
It's
like
Mexico.
I was like, holy fuck. So then I went on Craigslist.
Is this in Mexico or
this is in Cabo coming home?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I figure out 24 hours before we have to fly that, oh my God, this isn't going to be easy.
I know, and it ruined a full day of your vacation.
1 full day. For real. You're right about that. So we had to drive an hour to a clinic. This is kind of crazy. The first person I talked to was the Mexican you. She was like the PCR test or the rapid test. You can fly on that. No problem. Yeah. And then I looked it up, and it looked like I couldn't. It looked like I couldn't fly on that. So I had to get the other test, whatever the other
antigen.
Yeah, the antigen test. So the only place that did it was the hospital. So when I was talking to the It was just a woman off Craigslist who had tests who was like, don't worry about it. Come to my house.
it wasn't a PCR.
We got it. You'll be able to fly, no problem. And I was like, how much is it? She's like, half price. I'm like, well, what's regular price? She's like, $50 or whatever it was. And so then I was like, I'm not sure about this. Then I called the clinic, like a private clinic. They said, we do the one you need to fly. It's $110. But if you bring cash, we'll do 2 for $100 for you.
Ooh, I like it.
I'm like, we're getting in the car. We drove right down there.
Why even do it
They
when
did
they
it
know
in
it's
the
gonna be
parking
that?
lot. They did it in the parking lot. So the person in the clinic in their whites came out and said, no,
at least they
don't
were
come
wearing
to
whites.
They're like, don't come to the hospital.
No.
You got to meet us in the parking lot and bring. You got cash, right? You have cash, right? You got cash. And so we got that, and we were like,
100 for 2 plus you bring some tacos.
And they fucking said, give us your email, and like an hour later, it wasn't at the email.
You put your trust in these people.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And then it showed up.
I did it too. That's why I got into it, because I went to Florida.
And that was you had the same situation.
Yeah, I took like 5 Ubers, hours. It was like $300 in Ubers just to find a place that would do it in 24 hours, because we were leaving the next day. And it's Sunday, and they're God-fearing Americans down in Florida.
There you go.
So Sundays they don't work.
Nobody's
working. So we found a place called Treasure Island Medical.
That's real.
And I was like, I want to be Treasure Island Medical. So anyway,
you figured it out.
Yeah, and then I was like, how do you transition from this? STDs, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're in
Gonorrhea,
the STD
syphilis.
camp.
Syphilis is up 1,000% in Alberta and BC since last year.
I'm glad I'm married, man.
I'm so glad that we're talking about this.
That's awesome.
On your podcast.
Yeah, this is public.
STDs.
Well, Dano, who you know and love,
What made you think of Dano's in the STD?
Because he gave medical advice saying everybody in their 40s and 50s needs to go get a blood test. Go get your blood lab or whatever it's called. Figure out your cholesterol, because you don't want to get you have a heart attack.
I know.
And so I've done mine, and probably a bunch of listeners of the show have. And, now they know also, look, if you're out there, you're having fun, you're in Banff, you're getting lit up, you got to watch. There's STDs, man.
Well, and you know what? It's just a crime of passion, really.
Yep, it is.
Having unprotected sex. And let's be honest, we've all done it. I can't believe this podcast is going in that direction. And you're worried the next day, and you want to be responsible, but guess what?
You got to call Andrew Hardingham, and he's going to come by and
you
test
got to
your
call
ass.
the hospital, and then you got to wait 5 days for an appointment while it festers and grows.
It's getting worse.
And then and
it's a bad time.
You start to think you don't have anything, and we can. I mean, at some point we're going to be doing everything, and you can get same day results and medications, walk in, walk out.
There you go.
And we can actually come to your house too. So if you're a real bad boy, nobody has to know. We're taking bachelor party appointments.
That's great. You should. If you're booking a bachelor apartment, they should, or a bachelor party, you should also book your services for the next day for everybody.
Yeah.
For everybody.
And we're talking about, have you ever been hungover and you get infusion therapy?
No, I haven't had that.
Oh, hangover's gone instantly.
Really?
Like, instantly. You go sitting there about 15 minutes on the drip.
You've done this.
Of course.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great. It's marvelous technology. And by technology, I mean saline solution in your veins.
That's dope.
So it can bring you right back 100%. Like, I'm not talking 99. I'm talking 100%.
You're feeling good.
So that would be fun to do. Hey.
Well, could you do
the
that
whole
as a
one-stop
business?
shop?
Yeah, you could do that as a business, couldn't you? We'll just pop by your party. You just stay
STD
laying
swab,
there.
And
we're swabbing
don't
you.
even get out of bed.
Yeah.
Just be naked when I arrive.
This is something you could franchise, right? This is something you could franchise.
It's a dream. It's a dream.
The party platter is coming. The hangover crew is coming and testing
dream,
everybody. It's a great idea.
It's a dream.
So did I hear you correctly? Obviously, whiskey was your first love. Mm-hmm. Mezcal got in there?
Oh, I love mezcal. Mezcal is actually such an interesting spirit. People, like, whiskey is so complicated because it gets aged. There's so much that goes into grain. Have you heard of terroir?
No.
In wine, it's often referred to, and it's about the earth.
Okay.
That's why French Bordeaux are so amazing. The terroir puts so much more flavor because what the plant extracts from the earth. Okay, great. grapes are a 1-year crop, or well, realistically 6-month crop, 6 months of terroir. Grain may be harvested twice, or rye always has to be harvested after the first snowfall. That's why Alberta is the big rye producing province in the world.
In the world, right.
80% of all rye basically comes out of Alberta.
Incredible.
Smirnoff,
Yeah.
made in Lethbridge. Rye,
Wow,
rye,
really?
vodka.
Russian vodka.
There's
made
a lot
right
of
here.
well, yeah. Look
Yeah.
at most good vodkas are made here, but because
So
we
the
have we have the
terroir.
grains, terroir, right? So 2
Yeah.
crops, mezcal. They're all wild plants.
Yeah.
And
I've seen
you
them.
want to talk about terroir. A tepextate can't be harvested for 15 years, or it's not a
15.
tepextate.
Right.
Or tobala are like multi-year, multi-decade plants. They're as big as this room when you
Huge.
harvest them.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's terroir. You want to talk
Interesting.
about complexity
That's
of
why
flavor?
it's so good.
That's why it's so good.
Yeah.
And most people just instantly, it's the smoke, because that's the final evolution of like whiskey, which is the Islas. They're the smoky, peated ones. The people are like, ugh, I hate whiskey.
Sure.
No. Go to Highlands, go to Speyside, go to Canadian whiskey, not smoky, not even woody.
Yeah.
But when it comes to smoke, it turns people off, which is kind of good, because it's also one of the most limited products you can get, because they are all wild forage products. They walk around with GPS units, and when they find like a 3-year-old, they beep it. They come back in 10 years.
Wow.
And thank God for technology, or else
Yeah.
the treasure map,
Right,
which I'm
right,
sure it is, but
right.
it's still pretty primitive down there. But
Have
there's
you
not
been
enough.
to Oaxaca? Have you gone and visited?
It was on the plan, as well as Scotland, for, I believe, April 2022. Maybe you know it.
Yeah.
It was the time when they wouldn't let me, Andrew, go to Scotland or Oaxaca.
Really? Wait, are we talking 2019 when COVID hit? Or
Yeah, that's it. I don't know. I've lost track.
No, that's
No, it's
yeah.
2020.
2020?
2019 didn't hit.
2019.
2020. See?
I can't remember
We're all
when it was.
scrambled. It's
COVID
been so
19.
long.
It was from, oh yeah, because it was December of 19. Okay, got you. COVID.
That's when it started.
COVID wizard over here. Yeah, I went to Mitla, which is in Oaxaca. There's like literally, like a fucking donkey dragging a giant stone wheel over these
Most places still do
ancient
that.
cacti.
Yeah.
It's
So
crazy.
you've dove in, so you've got some education
I love
on
it so much. And the last
Yeah.
time I shared a glass of mezcal with someone who wasn't my wife was Bud Fawcett. And he's like, everyone told me I had to get this mezcal, but it tastes like football leather. And I was like, oh, you, what? He's
Once
like,
upon a time, it did. That yellow shit that used to come in.
I don't even know what he had. It
with
was
the worm?
good. It was good. It was like Casamigas or something. It was
Yeah.
like a good,
Oh.
it was a good mezcal.
Yeah.
We drank it until we were
A
drunk.
black powdered bottle. That's
That
the
was the
Casamigos.
one.
Yeah,
That
it's
was
really
the
good.
one.
It's an Espadin.
It's really, really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, down there, there's mezcal tourism. So you can get on a bus, get hammered.
I want to be a tourist.
Oh
down
my
there.
God. It's just great. It's really, you feel like there's something about the, yeah, people will say, no, don't have this mezcal. You want to see my family has a mezcal, down the street over here.
And they're
that
all
happened.
so different. In Pachuga, have you heard of these Pachugas?
I had
of course
Pachuga.
you have.
I didn't
Your
even
wife
know
sounds
what it
cool, too, if
was.
she's drinking
Yeah,
it
so
with you.
our favorite was Pachuga. But then when we found out what it was that was in there, we were like, oh,
It's not really in there.
Yeah.
It's kind of what the copper in the still does.
Sure.
To flavor. It
Sure.
just engages. Because,
Well, the Pachuga we had raw chicken in it.
yeah, they hang the
Yeah.
breast of a chicken
Yeah.
or a turkey or whatever. They have a vegan one where they hang
It
the...
tastes the fucking best.
I love it.
That's all there is
You know what they
to
do,
it.
but
It
then
tastes the
they
best.
they redistill it one more time with like rice and fruits, and that's why it
Interesting.
has like a different. They have so much fun with mezcal.
Yeah, mezcal traditionally, from what I understand, was just like the poor man's drink. It wasn't.
Yeah.
There was not. There's no. Tequila was like this high-end mezcal.
It was marketed.
It was a
beautifully.
marketed mezcal,
Yeah.
and people would only drink tequila, and mezcal was considered kind of dirty or something.
Peasants.
Yeah, but there's a drink I drink.
Tequila is a mezcal, by the way.
It is. All
Yeah.
tequilas are mezcal,
Yeah.
from what I
They're
understand.
just one of the
Yeah.
agaves in the
Right,
mezcal
right.
range. I think
One of my
I can't
favorites,
remember.
and
I
it's
don't
not
know enough about it.
it's not great, and it's not really mezcal, but there's a fermented cane drink in Mexico called mezcalito, and it
I've
comes in
seen
these
it.
little
I've heard of
plastic
it.
pineapples.
Never tried it.
It's about 70 cents for a 26er.
Yeah.
and it gets you wicked drunk. It's about 26%, so it's very sweet. It's easy to drink.
Sounds like that Loco drink, you know?
Yes, it's very much like Four Loko.
Four Loko.
Yeah, it's very much like Four Loko. It is awesome.
Not everyone can afford a bottle of mezcal, right? You need your Four Loko somewhere.
And mezcalito is like, I swear to God, it's the cheapest alcohol
fermented
in Mexico.
and then distilled.
It's crazy.
Or is it just fermented?
It's distilled, I think.
We could honestly talk about this for
right. Okay, so
an hour and a half.
When did you get into snowboarding? What era? What was your first board kind of? What era is
first board?
Hardingham?
Early 90s. I was a ski jumper, and then I...
Like the ski flying thing?
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Come back in a bit.
But yeah, we'll catch up this afternoon. I didn't order anything because I want to stay light.
Yeah.
Light on your feet. You're on a diet. I get it. You need it. You need to be on a diet. Eras of snowboarding. So yeah, I was a ski jumper with my cousin. My cousin was a ski jumper too, James.
Yeah.
We just met.
Yeah.
He ski jumped well into
How do you get into ski jumping? Isn't that too dangerous for kids?
No, that's when they want you.
They have a kid ski jumping
kids always want to hit the
program.
jump.
Absolutely.
I showed up at Norquay, and I was like, these jumps are sweet on my downhill skis when I was 7 when I started.
Rad.
And they were like, we need more ski jumpers. So they're like, you like that jump, kid? You want to hit it? And they called it the 15 meter. It was just like a booter.
You did
hit
a
it on
15 meter jump as a kid.
I probably went 10 meters.
Still, that's 30 feet for all you
I
Americans.
cranked off this thing.
That's a big jump.
Yeah, 30 it's 45 feet. More.
Yes, 30 meters, right.
I don't know if I
or
was going
15
that far.
meters, 3 feet.
I was on downhill skis. So then he's like, oh, you like that? I'm like, yeah, I fucking love taking off the grass. Sweet, airtime. And so
that's what you sounded like as a kid.
Did I just plug the other podcast?
Yeah,
what
Jody's the
asshole.
best. No, Jody's the best. Bombhole Airtime. Love those guys.
Airtime. Well, he obviously got the name from somewhere. It was probably my first jump on downhill skis.
Airtime. He probably
so I
heard
shouted
about that.
Airtime, and he heard it in his mom's womb, probably. So anyway, they were like, "You want to jump?" Yes. Long story short, I ski jumped for 4 years, and then I was kind of a troubled youth. Not really. Just I wasn't getting along with my single mom. So my dad lived in Australia, and they negotiated a treaty where they'd get rid of me and dump me on my dad in Australia, who wanted me. You really get to the heart of us, don't you? And so I went out to Ayers Rock, Uluru.
I don't know where
it's now
that
called
is.
Uluru. It's been changed. The name.
Big red rock?
Big red rock, the Energizer Bunny goes in front of.
Good. So it's back to
that was my backyard.
indigenous
I was
name.
like the
You're
closest
shitting me
house.
right now.
Well,
No
it was still
way.
100 kilometers, 20 kilometers away.
Yep.
So I lived out there for a full year.
Rad.
54 Celsius, whatever the fuck that is in Fahrenheit. That's
not
America's
even possible.
problem.
That's a sauna.
No,
That's as hot as a
I was
sauna.
from Canada.
Yeah.
And I didn't have shorts. I showed up with 4 pairs of corduroy black jeans. I wore them to school every day. I had to ride my BMX bike.
Yeah.
Long sleeve shirts and corduroy jeans in plus 50. And they don't
Jesus.
close school there. And I get there. This one time it was so hot, this bat just hit me in the chest and stuck to me. And it was like, I fucked up. Maybe that's why I dealt with COVID so well. I was immune because this bat, maybe. I didn't fuck it or anything, but you get the gist. I definitely made out with it a bit. Like I'm a gentleman.
As you do
Walked
when
it
a
home
bat
after.
sticks to you.
So anyway, I was like, cool, bat. Where am I? And so then I dreamt of this pair of downhill skis. I even had a magazine clipping on my wall, and I was like, when I get back to Banff, I'm buying those skis. They were a girl's Rossignol ski.
Perfect.
Isn't that great? I was
That
so
is amazing.
dumb, but I just fixated on it.
Yeah.
They were purple. And I walked into Menards as soon as I got back, and I had some I'd been washing some windows, so I had about $35, and I put them on layaway.
Oh, I love layaway.
And they were like 1 year old at that point, so they were like on sale for like $350, and I was like, I got 10 more payments to make, buddy.
You will be
layaway.
mine.
So then I went to school, and like I went straight to school, and this new kid had just joined our school, and his name was Jonathan Moore.
Oh,
He had just moved from Colorado.
Whoa.
He was a year younger than us, but he's like a Doogie Howser. He was smart, so
Yeah.
he got bumped up to our grade.
Sick.
And he was a snowboarder, and he was like had a sweet board he was selling. He's
No
like,
way.
Andrew. And my two
my
best
God.
friends, Shane and Marty, were snowboarders when I got home. I was like,
Yeah.
what is happening?
You're
So I
buying
was like, I'm
skis
not
on
gonna-
layaway, and
I
they've
got a pair
already
laid
started
out,
snowboarding.
guys. I got a pair of girls' giant slalom skis laid out that I put all the money in the world on.
Yes.
So then they're like, no, that's stupid. Get a snowboarder. Otherwise, we're going to have to battle.
Yep.
So I was like, okay. And then John was like, hey, funny thing, I just got a new board. I'll sell you this board, which was actually a Burton Craig Kelly Micro, if you want to hear the name of it.
So dope. I do.
With
and
the
that's
flex
amazing.
bindings, which had the third strap,
third
but
strap,
Jonathan
yeah.
had sawed that fucker right
Yeah.
off because...
Cleanly, or was
And
it
that
a-
was like
was
new
it a
school,
mess? Yeah.
like within 2 years of new school. No, not cleanly. It tore my jeans apart. And I, single mom, pretty broke, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, Banff, you must come from a bit of money. Nope, no money at all. So I got a job at McDonald's, 12 years old. Yeah, I was 12. 13 is when I hit the slopes. I got a job. I had to get a note from mom because you weren't allowed to work till you're 13. And my two other snowboarder friends got jobs, Shane, Marty. They got jobs. We were all there. And I made the mistake of one day saying,
Crew.
lobby's not so bad. I like it. So they jammed me 8-hour shifts in lobby.
Oh, wow.
Right? And this was like just when puberty was hitting.
Yeah.
And they gave me the tightest black uniform.
I've had this exact
You
experience.
know, I'm sure there's so many dudes listening to this and they know. And what happens when you're 12? You start bonering out all over the place for no reason.
Yep.
And all the cute girls would come in and be like, oh, hi, we're just here to get some nuggets.
I made it 1 week. The girls' volleyball team from the all-girls school came in, and like
Come
so a lineup,
on.
and all they wanted was ice cream cones, and I didn't
All
know
they
how to
wanted
make the
was
cones
to
yet.
torment you.
I didn't know,
And
so
your
I'd have to turn
hormones.
around, make
Yeah.
the fucking sloppiest shitty cone ever, try and hand it off. People are like, I don't want this. This is garbage. And there was like a line of 20 more of
Yeah,
them.
but it
I was
came
like,
with a
this
boner.
is killing me. This is killing me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, lobby sucked.
Oh, and I had this big, this shirt from this must have been a 250-pound woman with big boobies. So my shirt was massive and it hung over and it had these big stretched out boob holes. But you're 12, you don't argue with your boss.
No,
You take
no,
it,
they
you
just-
put it
you
on.
take it, you
and
put
then
it on.
Stampede rolls around. They want all the staff to wear a straw cowboy hat, but it was like an
wow.
8-gallon.
Oh,
Not like a
wow.
2-gallon.
Oh my God.
So, and everyone's like, no. And little dumb Andrew's like, okay, I have to go clean the bathroom because I'm bonering out again and I'm tired of tucking it in my waistband.
I snuck in the basement and ate the hot mustard sauces from the nuggets, just on its
Straight?
own. Like just straight.
You
Yeah.
ran on mustard.
I
dude.
ran on mustard. I got fired, man. I got fired in a
For
week.
eating mustard?
Yeah, that was a part of it.
Cutting the
That was
mustard
definitely
too
a
much.
part of it. They're like, somebody went down in the basement and ate a box
There's
of mustard.
465 open mustards.
Like, why? And you're the kid who always
Sustenance.
orders the McNuggets with the extra mustard. And it never happened before you were here. But yeah, no, I got fired for not
and why is your
showing up.
waistband 3 inches larger?
Why do you have mustard all down the front of your
Mustard.
booby shirt?
So you clean the bathroom a lot too. huh?
I did.
That's
yeah.
how you got
and
out
take
of it.
out the garbage. You take out the garbage and you go slowly because it's a compactor. It's way at the back of the
You
lot.
gotta learn
You're
how
going
to
so
work
slow.
smart, not hard.
I've told my kids and I've told anyone who'll listen, I never worked harder at a job than McDonald's. They
I
kept
learned a
you
shitload,
going.
too.
They kept you going. You know, like the mopping. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the wet, the two wets and a dry.
Trays.
Like like it made the trays. Just they wanted every moment of your workday to be filled with work. That
And
was
they taught
their
you
deal.
the right way too. I always,
They
I
did.
love,
I
I
still
want to
mop
go
like
back
that.
there. I want to go back there.
We should do it. Let's do it for a week. Let's go get hired for
Year.
a week. For a
I'll
year.
make more than I ever made in snowboarding, guaranteed.
You can make 28 grand a year at McDonald's right
yeah,
now.
And you go crew chief, you're looking at 30.
We would get so fat though. I think that's the only thing.
I don't
think-
here's my theory on McDonald's food. It is good for you because being
Hmm.
alive is healthy. And McDonald's keeps you alive, therefore McDonald's is
got
good
you.
for you.
Yeah, there was a
I'm
podcast
the biggest
where
supporter
they
of
talked
McDonald's.
about for food value, the amount of
Oh, yeah.
things that you get on a Big Mac with the
Calories
lettuce and the
for
thing
the
and
money.
calories for the
is
money.
The best bang for
It's
your buck
best
is
bang
a
for your
double cheeseburger.
and then you get
They
a
increase
double
the cost.
bypass surgery. Not as good.
Huh? Jeez.
Yeah, what I stopped.
That's genetics.
I stopped.
That's not McDonald's.
I stopped McDonald's.
Thank your
So the
grandpa.
boardroom snowboard shop in North Van
Know it well.
moved
Love 'em.
into a McDonald's, an old McDonald's. So during the reno,
it would have smelled so
I got to
awesome in
see the pipes come out, and I didn't eat McDonald's for, I'm not going to exaggerate and say 10 years, probably 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Because just
That's still a
seeing
long time to not
the
eat
black,
McDonald's. That's our,
the black 3/4 filled
tradition in our
things.
country. See, that would just turn me on.
Yeah, I
I'm a weirdo,
challenge
though.
you. I challenge you to look at that stuff.
I'm the biggest supporter of McDonald's. They actually, I was until they just ran an ad about these little hacks that they have. I don't know if you saw any
McDonald hacks. No,
of them. But
I
one
haven't
of
seen
them was mine.
I've got one too. What's yours?
Mine,
I've
I
got
call
one.
it the Earth, Wind, and Fire,
Okay.
or the McGangbang. It was where I wanted the ocean, and then I wanted the land, and then I wanted the air. And you can call a chicken not a bird of flight, but that was my air bird.
Okay.
And then I had a cheeseburger and then a fillet of fish on the bottom, and you take 2 pieces of bread out, you make that thing. It was about 1,300 calories.
Yep.
And if you could get through it on
One a
drunken
day.
night,
Yeah, one a day.
hello, Clarice.
So we went to Whistler,
Mm-hmm.
and we go to the McDonald's, and they said, "We're sorry, we're out of beef."
Yeah.
And so I was like, "Give me
Can't
a
be out of beef.
Big Mac
Can't be out of beef.
with 2 fillet of fish patties, and let's call that the McFillet Deluxe." And so then I ordered that, and then the guy behind me said, "Give me a
want a
McFillet
McFillet
Deluxe," and they knew what it was. I was like, "I've invented a thing."
That should have been
the McFillet Deluxe.
The sign that
Yeah.
the McFillet Deluxe is on the menu. Now, was
Yeah.
the McFillet Deluxe ever on the menu?
Never. No, they haven't
Guess
put it
what?
on there.
They copied you, but with chicken.
Right, they've done the
got the
chicken
big
one, so they're gonna do.
chicken Big
But
Mac.
I don't know. Would they call it the McFillet Deluxe?
It's not as good, too. I hate to put down
It
my
sucks.
homeboys.
Yeah, it's. Oh, I try. You know what? That marketing got me. I went and I bought one. I took a bite and I threw it out. It was gross. The double
Yeah.
chicken Big Mac.
I couldn't
didn't
get
work.
through it because I felt like I was full after like a quarter of it, which is
Yeah.
unlike me.
Like sometimes
I can
I'll
run a
get a
train.
bite and it's too much bun, and I'll just spit out the bun bite and be like, "Next bite, please." The whole
Oh, you're making
McChicken
me
one
hungry right now.
was a bun bite. The whole McChicken
Yeah,
felt
I
like
felt
a
that
bun
way
bite.
too. Felt like it was a
There's too much. there.
half-assed nugget in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Big
What I
old
wanted was the
squished
nugget.
nugget.
What I wanted was the actual nuggets. The nuggets are good.
Oh, I'm drinking a Caesar right now for
There you go.
everyone without video.
There you go. Perfect. Okay, so first board's Micro Air. That's
Micro
great.
Air.
It's a great board to
Yeah.
start on because you're going to be able to actually learn how to turn. You're actually going to flex the board, and you'll be able to jump and grab your
The
board.
best
all this
snowboarder
shit.
in our school
And the-
just rode it, so
Yeah,
it must be
yeah.
good. Even had an
Yeah.
Oakley sticker on it, fluorescent
Oh,
green.
come on.
And I only had $200.
Yeah.
Thanks to McDonald's. So I gave him the money, and it was $250. So he withheld the leash.
Ah, that's the best.
And it was an iguana leash with the coily
Ooh,
doily.
Iguana.
And he's
Local.
like, "You don't get the leash until
Yeah.
the extra 50." I need
Yeah.
I apparently
You know who
I
probably
didn't
printed
know
that
anything
leash?
about it.
Derek Height.
Really?
He worked for Iguana.
Iguana.
He poured the stomp pads and he screwed
92.
the leashes. Yeah.
That would have been.
Yeah. Yeah.
91,
probably,
92.
Probably would have been Derek Height made Iguana equipment.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's super rad. So did you pine after the skis? Did you go get your 35 bucks
you know what?
back?
I went in. I made up some story about my uncle bought me another pair of skis.
Yep.
And yeah, they have to keep 10%, which was 35 bucks, and
Yeah.
they just go, "Here, kid, you can have your money back."
That's
so
rad.
kudos to Minodes for that. And now a
Ah,
good friend of mine,
it's dope.
from the Minode family, operates it. Nick, and he's
Still
great.
going.
And I'm like, you guys have always been cool with me since you gave me my $35 back, and I could get my leash
That's
from
the-
Jonathan.
That's why you got to support your local shop,
Mm-hmm.
is because you could have a 30-year history with these people
Big
that are
time.
they're working their asses off trying to figure out what you
Minodes,
want.
his dad opened Unlimited in Banff.
Oh,
too.
sick.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
He hasn't owned it for many, many moons,
Yeah.
but it's still Unlimited. It's a great shop in Banff.
Yep.
Rude Boys, those are the two.
Those are
You
the
wanna go
two
to.
in Banff,
Yeah.
for sure.
Rude
Yeah.
Boys has multi-shops.
I'd imagine one of the shops was one of your first sponsors, right? You would have got on
My
with
very
somebody.
first sponsor was Rude Boys.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were awesome, too.
Yeah.
Because we would just hang out there anyway, like any kid, asking for free stickers and trying to catch a look up the girl's skirt, you'd ask her to try on shoes, and she'd have to go way up a ladder. And you'd be like, peekaboo. Sorry, I'm 13.
Yeah, you can't cancel a 13-year-old, I don't think.
That was Rude Boys. And they were really supportive, paid all our entry fees. And
So you go to contests. That's the era that you're in.
Loved contests.
Is contests. I remember contests, Andrew. You did well.
I did.
Yeah.
Even when they dropped me, I left junior men's, and I
Yeah.
was doing well. I get a lot of firsts.
Did you do
Few
World
seconds.
Juniors or anything like that?
No, I never
You do
did
one of those
juniors.
ones?
I got into, as soon as they put me in men's,
Yeah.
it was called Men's Am for some reason. There's no pros. So I was like, oh shit, now I got to go with all my heroes and compete against them. And that was like Greg Todd's was in riding
Rad.
pipe, and Joey Vosberg, and
Sick.
all these, Scott Newsom, and all these guys were riding pipe. And sorry to date myself. And I was just a little guy. And then I did really good. And I was a competitive kid. Like I quit drinking when I was like, what's grade 9? You're 15?
15,
Because
14.
I was like, I have to focus.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty fucking dope.
And I didn't drink till I was 18.
Amazing.
In Banff. All my friends did and stuff.
Right.
I quit smoking weed just before that, not for any other reason than it just made me stupid. My friend
Right.
told a joke, and like, I laughed 9 minutes later. And I was like, oh, fucking, I'm quitting. That
Right.
was ridiculous. I
Right.
don't like this. But anyway, I got back into drink because it's so delicious. And I'm like of the 8% where it's a euphoric drug for me. It makes me happier. And I know how to control it.
That's only 8%?
Yeah, I don't know. I just heard
feel-
some fucking stupid
I feel
thing.
like I'm in that group sometimes.
8% where you're like,
Sometimes.
it's not a problem for you, and it
Yeah.
actually gives you energy,
Cool.
alcohol.
Yeah.
And not because the sugar of like a tasty Negroni.
I got you.
It's like, it gives you energy, and I talk
Chatterbox.
better, and
Yeah.
I love obviously you can always cross lines, but I'm pretty goddamn good at it. It's probably my Scottish heritage.
Good for you, man. Yeah.
Hence the whiskey festival.
Right. Yeah. That'd be fun.
My whole snowboard career was training to host the finest whiskey festival on earth,
I love this.
which is December 1st and 2nd in Banff.
Excellent.
There's my plug. Not that anyone here is traveling to Banff to go to my whiskey
Oh, some
festival.
of the people that listen to the show, they're from all over the place. And I got to say, after doing this series of like Holy Bully interviews,
Mm-hmm.
if you aren't thinking, if Sunshine's not on the top of your list of springtime destination resorts,
Wintertime,
it
too.
fucking should be.
This was, I don't know if you know this, snowboarding in Canada started at Sunshine.
I do know a little bit about this.
It started in Calgary, little shop called the Snowboard Shop.
That I do know.
They came here.
Yep.
This is a really cool story, actually. My dad was the outdoor manager.
Wow.
He moved my family to Banff from Invermere as soon as I was born in '79, and at first he worked patrol and everything. He ended up becoming the outdoor manager here. He helped install the original gondola.
Amazing.
And those snowboarders from the shop, he told me this story. He's passed since, but he told me they kept on hounding me. He always said, don't be a snowboarder. That's all I care about, because that was the frame of mind back then in the early 80s.
Sure.
I was like, yeah, I'll never be a snowboarder. I'll be a skier and a ski jumper. And then, so they would come up here and they would walk up, and then they would always get kicked off because they were snowboarders. And that was like the worst thing you could do to snow, apparently. And that was the mentality of the world.
It's true.
They're gonna scrape it off. Where are they putting it? Where? Show me the pile. Show me the pile. Where? Okay, so I still had a nurse who hated snowboarders because we scraped the hill out. That was like 5 years ago.
Wow.
So anyway, he finally got so sick of telling them they can't snowboard that he says, fine, you can ride, but you have to walk. We can't lay you on the chairlifts.
That's amazing.
So we moved to Calgary for a year when my mom was traveling around nursing, getting her degree. So we were jumping all over the place, and we bought this house on 1A Street in Calgary. We rented this house, and right behind it was the snowboard shop, which is kind of where the Mission's located now.
Yeah.
And it was a snowboard shop, and they had a vert ramp in this little alley beside two buildings.
Wow.
It's in Kensington.
Cool.
And skateboarding is cool to any kid, and I had never done either. I think I was 6 at the time. I went in there, and they recognized me because I had a freckle face. I looked just like my dad. And they go, hey, you look familiar. Where does your dad work? And I told him, my dad's Sunshine. He's the outdoor. I was so proud of him.
Yeah.
And they were like, we know your dad. He lets us ride the mountain.
It's amazing.
And they go, any sticker, you can have it. And I picked a no rats allowed sticker.
Ooh, nice.
I didn't stick
no
it.
Rats allowed.
That's currency. I'm going to spend that.
Yeah.
So I never stuck it. I still have it. But they gave it to me because he had allowed them to walk up the hill because he was a grumpy asshole who got sick of fighting with them.
Right.
But anyway, this was the first hill to kind of allow. I know they had their own movement in Vancouver as well. At Grouse and
PD
Seymour,
talked about
Seymour.
it. Yeah. Cypress, I think, actually
Cypress,
was the first one. Yeah.
Okay.
Before Whistler,
you'd be more knowledgeable than that.
But Hemlock Valley before that with
Hemlock.
PD. PD was the one who opened up Hemlock. Yep.
Yeah, and it's like, is it really? What's it take to realize that there's money in it? You know,
right? It's like we're gonna.
Why couldn't
pay
they
for
see
a
that? Like
fucking
all
lift
these
ticket.
kids want to
Right,
do it. Like
right.
they were like Elvis Presley haters. Don't you shake your hips?
Right. But when you've done it as long as we have,
Mm-hmm.
you do see some people come up to the hill with some contraptions that they've invented or made that you
love them all.
Me too.
I want
you
them
go,
all.
that might not work, right? Mm-hmm. And
That
as
might
an
kill somebody.
operations manager, you go, no.
How am I gonna get
my
that
dad
on my
got,
chair?
I saw this when I was like the cool 15-year-old kid going to the ski hill,
Yeah.
on a Wednesday when they allowed snowboarding just one day a week. And my friend's like, isn't that your dad? And I'm looking, my dad had gone to a garage sale, got $5 skis. They still had belts on them. And they were
the
made
safety
of,
straps.
all made of wood.
Yeah.
The belts
Before they had the little click.
you could use your shoes in them if you wanted.
Yeah.
You didn't need ski boots.
Oh, cool.
So he's like
What a
got them on
find.
his feet. And the guy at the front, who's like a teenager, is going, "Sir, I don't think you could go up the lift with those." And then the ops manager comes out and goes, "Buddy, you kill someone if you go up the lift on those. Have you ever skied before?" My
'Cause
dad's
they don't
like,
have the
"No."
brakes.
He's such a G. My dad was like,
He's like,
whatever, all right, fine. He just like throws them in the garbage
one
there
in
and
a
just
thousand
walks
chance.
out. And my friends are like, "Is that your dad?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, maybe." Yeah. I was embarrassed when I
he
was
has
a kid.
leashes on his skis.
Now, as an adult,
Now
I'm like,
you
my
know
dad
he's a
was a
G.
fucking G, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, just sitting there smoking, watching us. He'd drive us 3 hours to the resort, pull up this chair right here, and sit and just watch
Yeah.
and smoke and read a fucking mystery novel or something. I'm like, what?
He probably did him the favor.
Yeah,
he just
probably.
gets to fucking
He's
relax
out
and
of the
smoke
house.
darts.
He's smoking darts. Smoking
Down
the
in
whole
America,
way up
if you're
there.
lucky, where they're half price.
3 hours in the car with the windows closed
Yeah.
because it's freezing. My
Well, you had a
dad's
cool
smoking
dad,
darts.
man.
Yeah, he was
Like
dope.
snowboard moms
He was
and
nice.
soccer
Yeah.
moms didn't come around until the late 90s.
People hated on snowboarding.
Yeah.
They hated it.
So if you had a dad who supported it,
Yeah.
and
so
your friends doing it,
does your dad have anything to do with it? Eventually, they go, "Yeah, you can ride the lifts."
so he ended up he named a whole bunch of these runs. A lot of them have been changed since. He named them after wildflowers or like
I love
Forget Me
that.
Not and Fireweed and all that. Fireweed
Cool.
T-Bar that
It's
used to
still-
be there.
yeah.
I think it's still Fireweed, right?
Cool.
So he got to name a whole bunch with a bunch of other guys from Banff that he worked with, and they became friends over the years. But then he moved on and moved back to Australia, where he's from. He's born there, and
Yeah.
he went to Threadbow
Wait,
and was the
An
maintenance manager.
Australian in Banff? That's just so rare.
Yeah, he came over here to hunt animals to kill.
I fucking
He
love
went
that.
up to Terrace. He started there, and he was what's it called? In Australia, it's called a turner and fitter. Here, it's
Oh, I don't
called.
even know what that is.
It's yeah, exactly. So he would go around trying to apply for jobs. He's a turner and fitter. It's a really high up mechanical job here
Yeah.
called.
Machinist?
He's like he can do that too. That's part of that trade.
Yeah.
It'll come to me.
Yep.
This is a guy who's been self-employed his whole life. I don't know the names of like carpenter, Jesus, carpenter. No, he was millwright,
Millwright, right.
but he went around saying I'm a turner and fitter, and they're like,
We don't know what that is.
fuck you.
Yeah.
Skin this fish and put it in this can.
And he
so,
could do
and then
that
he'd go
shit.
out and
Yeah.
shoot, and he's got all these old 8mm vids that I projected on a wall one day. I found this box, and I'm
Rad.
like, please don't be porn. Please don't be porn. And none of it was porn. I guess
Were you
film
really?
was too
Please don't be
expensive.
porn. Was it? you didn't want it to be porn of your dad, but if it was old vintage porn.
Oh, of course, I love porn. Don't get me wrong. I'm
so there was,
breathed, don't I?
Yeah, there was a part of it that was like,
I'm just please don't be
porn.
mom and dad porn.
Yeah. Got you.
You know, that
that
scars you for life. But it wasn't. It was like his hunting videos.
Dope.
And it was so bad because you'd see him and it was a little faster because, it wasn't 24 frames. It was like 16 frames to conserve. So it ran at a faster speed. I'm so glad I know this about film because it's been applied to all the digital age.
Really?
Like 24 frames. What does that mean in digital?
Right. Why?
60 frames? It doesn't mean anything, but it's pulled over from film. And because Sandbox, we used Bolex 16,
nice.
H16S's.
Yeah.
And Bolex 16 millimeter.
What
and
a time.
We even did 32 mil. We had to learn those film speeds. Yeah. How cool is that?
That's so
I'm
cool.
honored that I caught that rear end of film. So anyway, I watched them, and there's a grizzly charging at them down a hill.
No.
In my world, it was an urban legend that grizzlies can't run downhill because their front legs are. So this was disproved on the spot. So I'm like, watch on, move on. And it was him. And you see some sheep and he dives and he shoots, and like 4 feet in front of him, the ground just explodes because he shoots into the ground. And I was like, Dad, come downstairs for a second, please. I'd like to talk to you about this video I just saw. And he's like, Andrew, that was in the 70s. So he came over to hunt. He wanted the wilderness experience that Canada is, like the Dick Preneggy.
Yeah.
Like the Lost Alone in the Wilderness.
Right.
He wanted that. And so many people want that.
Yeah.
From Australia and from all over the world because it still is an unfettered wilderness here. You can get that. We all live in this tiny little stretch of Canada.
Yep.
95% of us. So there's still like this cool wilderness. So anyway, that's what brought him to Canada, and he was a millwright, so he could do all this stuff. So he's valuable to Sunshine. And then he moved on. I think Panorama he worked at as well. Moved on to Threadbow, so I'd go do Endless Winters.
Right. Yeah.
6, 7, and 8. I'd go to Threadbow for 2 months.
That helps.
And ski.
That helps
in our summer.
Yeah, that helps with.
It was cool.
Like keeping, especially in competitive Andrew days, when you can keep the summer progression going.
And I would go as my first independent trip, 18, turned 19. As soon as I got there, I went snowboarding in Australia for their whole season by myself.
Dope.
And I competed.
Holy
and I had
shit.
no idea what to expect. I didn't know. I just was sponsored by Option, but my contract was, I called it C-Team. I had a $1,000 travel budget. I got 3 boards a year. C-Team.
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 That's good. I
I wanted more, but who doesn't want more?
$1,000.
I was happy with that, and
3
I'd go and
boards.
I'd sell.
Yeah, you sell
next year's boards.
You sell 2 boards.
So
dope.
Yeah, and I'd hang out, and then I started winning those comps, and I got what I thought was a lot of money. I'd like make $10,000.
Have you won a $10,000 contest where you got a check for 10
never.
G's?
Fuck no.
But you won some thousands.
5,000 down there. It was cash.
Yep. Wow.
They just gave me a fat stack of these weird plastic bills.
Yeah,
which Canada has now.
Now we
they
have them,
didn't.
but then
And I was like,
and they're purple and all different colors.
There's kookaburra on this one. Oh my God, I'm so rich. And so then I moved up to every year I'd go up and rent a place on the Esplanade in Burleigh Heads. Yeah, and I made some really great friends over there that I still communicate with. And I went back about 3 years in a row, won lots of money. Jonas, Guinn, and Kelly Scovana came down, and I'd always beat Jonas's ass. He'd always get second.
Really?
Yeah, like I'd have to.
So
I'd have
he's
to
your Chris.
fall.
He's your Chris.
He
was
no,
on your
because
heels
he
back
never
and forth?
psychologically never got
never got
because we did compete, but he's the only guy who would drop these lines with me,
right?
Or even sometimes innovate. He could look at something and find a really interesting line too. So we always competed, but we were always like, oh shit, he one up me. I got to one up him, and then the next week it'd be a bigger rock ride or a bigger cliff to a rock.
Those things.
Yeah, it was fun.
Let's talk about that era because it's something that really is uniquely you. Like, did you see that video? It was maybe 2 years ago on social media. The Corbett's Couloir shot where the guy airs in and rides the rock down.
Yeah.
It's sick, and it's a
I
long...
love that. What was that guy's name?
I don't even know. It's a long rock ride for now.
Yeah,
but
he
like
aired over to the left side, didn't
and
he?
you've been
then,
there.
Yeah.
That thing is... What he did was impossible.
Yeah. I love that.
That was so sick.
Actually, what I said when I saw that on social media is I said, finally someone fucking rode that chute interestingly.
Yes.
And not just like, they all stand there and hang their ski tips off and talk about like, I swear it's going to be to ride Corbett's. Head into the mangy moose for a little après and just tell your legendary story. No, that guy actually meant to do that, and I loved that.
So
I think I even liked it.
Good. Oh wow, that is
a lot of effort to
your
click
currency,
that
right?
thumb.
Like a Hardingham like is worth a lot of likes.
Yeah, I wish.
Okay, so the rock riding comes out of how you naturally rode. Like I've got friends that row poly. That's their thing. They love the row poly.
Yeah.
You like the rock ride?
Yeah,
How
I
early?
understand there's so many demographics of snowboarding. We weren't trying to invent anything new, but when you grow up in Banff, and Jonas grew up in Kananaskis, so pretty much riding Lake Louise and Sunshine. So when you grow up here, we don't have a lot of snow here.
Right.
It's champagne powder. Yes, it doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
It's light and fluffy, but you also penetrate through. So you're always dealing with these shark teeth.
Yep.
So you're so used to hitting rocks and going through boards like crazy, not blowing out edges and stuff. Just so much PTEX is lost.
Yep.
On these mountains, and you just get so used to that and comfortable with it, and then you start to like. When you're doing cliffs where you know that you'll probably punch through to something, you start analyzing whether it's scree underneath or whether it's granite or whether it's boulders, like limestone boulders, because what kind of damage is it going to do to your body if you accidentally fall, put an arm in, is going to tear your arm apart. Scree, no, great. Scree's the best thing to land on, but it also
soft.
avalanches quicker.
Right.
It's all flat rocks.
Right.
It'll actually, if you have a busted up base and you ride a scree, 100-foot scree rock ride.
Oh, scree, yeah.
You'll have, it's like a bass grind. You'll have a smoother bass when you're done, and you will go faster than snow.
Right.
So, yeah, there's all sorts of physics to those rocks. And like out in Whistler, I did a couple of these cool like pillow lines, but it was like you go off, like drop 5 feet, hit this rock, and then you go off that rock onto another rock, and it was like, but it was granite. There was all sorts of quartz in it and stuff, so it was sticky as fuck.
Yeah.
So we'd throw snowballs at it, and it, of course, it's getting beaten by the sun. So as soon as the snowball hits, it melts and it speeds it up, like any rail guy knows. As soon as you come off the rail, you got to hit a sidewalk. You want it to be wet.
Yeah.
So I'm not a rail guy, so I didn't know that. I had to learn the hard way.
You never
a few
did a
times.
rail? You didn't never
Well,
did
I've done some rails. Cause
no, I just mean a rail like part or like rail
never.
trips and all that kind of
Never.
stuff. You were a big air guy, and then the
never
rock riding
interested me.
thing.
I never didn't like it. I
Right.
just didn't care.
You weren't
about it.
exposed to it, so you didn't.
No.
It wasn't something that
And
you
when
did.
I was being super cocky at an event where you had to, like the shakedown, I'd go hit the rails and I'd go, oh, watch this. And I'd do, like in my head, I could do everything because it wasn't, I thought it was so easy. And a couple of times I just bent my spinal cord over a fucking rail.
Reverse
Oh,
taco.
it hurt lots, and I'd have to just pick myself up and go hide.
Yeah, you seem like the kind of person that would have had some fucking major injuries because you were taking some major risks.
See, that's just it. Calculated risk. I never even got hurt that kept me off a snowboard for more than a week, with the exception of one shattered pelvis. But other than that, and that was I knew exactly why that happened. That was my own fault. But no, I never really got hurt. I separated a few shoulders, broke a few noses, broke a jaw,
how much
some
effort?
fingers, but you can keep riding.
How much effort you put into like these mega rock rides? Like, would there be ones that you were planning for years or for months or for weeks?
So I kind of touched on this with Jody.
Yeah.
Here is the psychology of a deadly line in a nutshell, if you want to conquer it. Go over in your head every single aspect that could go wrong. And most people don't want to think about the negative.
Right.
I hear that all the time. Like, don't talk about blowing your spine out on that rock right there. It's like, no. Talk about it. Think about it. If I get flipped to my back and I hit my spine on that rock, do I put an arm out? How do I protect my spine? And then your body will kick into that drive, and it'll solve all those problems as they happen subconsciously.
Wow.
I truly believe this because it's happened to me so many times. And now I just go over every rock. Okay, I want to hit that, but if I stick on it and there's 3 more rocks underneath, and they grab my board, okay, now I need to move my board up, make sure it's not under my back foot because that's more weight. And then, and you just, your body just responds to knowing all the information. And then like I've been pulled off of a massive 100 feet of rocky cliffs in Verbier in an airborne avalanche. I couldn't even see. And I'd already gone through it all in my mind. And it happened exactly. Boom, rocks just smoking me. And I had my shovel blade in my backpack. That wasn't there to dig people out. It was there to protect my spine.
Wow.
90% of the time, because they would have been digging me out. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
My shovel didn't dig me out. So it dug me out of a few shattered spinal cortexes, I'm sure. So that one, it was just boom, boom. I could almost count them as they were happening because I'd already looked at it.
Fuck.
You know, you prepare for that kind of stuff. So, and then I rode away from that one. And my board was destroyed. The edges were ripped out. It was awesome. I couldn't even ride out of the backside of Verbier because there was like this 4-inch piece of edge pointed forward, ripped out. I had to like bust it on a rock like a sharp pop can in a boat. Like it was so great.
There is a culture of crazy ascents, first ascents, gnarly ascents in France, at Verbier and around Chamonix that it doesn't exist anywhere else, really. It seems like. But it sounds like you kind of brought that here for a bit.
Well, I didn't bring anything. That was just the psychology. And we were the we are actually the third generation in Banff. We were riding with the generation above us, which was the Greg Todds and the Taylors and the Scott Newsomes.
So those guys are between the Ken and Warbs.
Yeah, they were looking up to those guys. I'm sure I might be off by like a few years.
I got you. No.
Team Core. That's what Scott Newsom wore at school all the
time. Really?
Team
Core?
He was 3 years older than me, but he had this like jacket with an apple core on the back, and that was their fucking champ.
Are you serious?
He was snowboard shop.
Wow.
So yeah, that was them.
Yeah.
And then we were third, so we were pretty young. Like,
did you come up with one of those names? Because it was Team Extreme for the Ken guys, wasn't it?
No, we didn't
Extreme?
have one.
Team Core.
We kind of pushed the Banff boys.
That was
just to try to get some coverage, like the group of 7 artists where you try to promote each other. But
Banff boys.
That's just stupid, though. Banff boys.
It's not as
we're
good as
we're
Seymour
the Banff
Kids.
Boys.
Banff boys.
At least the Seymour Kids was S Kids and could get turned into Skids. I get Transformers. Dead Kennedys logo.
And even Seymour Kids now still sounds to me like not like Banff Boys. Banff Boys sounds like a naughty video.
It does. It sounds like we're going to storm the Capitol.
Yep, maybe the Banff Boys. Oh, yeah. Like
what were they called?
Proud Boys. Proud Banff Boys.
So, yeah, anyway. Yeah.
I love it.
So those guys were above us. And so we were really young and ignorant when we were going on these excursions. And they bring us sometimes.
Yeah.
Normally, they like Jonathan more because he was like a dude who was already a really good snowboarder. So they took him under their wing right away. And then he would invite me on a few things, but I was like really half pipe slope style. I was definitely backcountry too.
Yeah.
But I did backcountry by myself.
That's crazy.
Get this. This is how fucking dumb kids are. I was so in love with like the mountains. I would hike up out of bounds to bowls that ended on the opposite side, like the highway. And then I would hike right back up my tracks by myself. And we're talking 3,000 foot bowls, no rocks and cliffs. Like it wasn't we're going to get like point releases or anything.
Right.
But ignorance is bliss. Then I started taking these avalanche courses. I'm like, great. Great. Now I need friends.
Right.
And I hated riding with people because we just had, when in the early days, they all wanted to jib and butter. And there wasn't rails, but there was like Norquay put a big purple Beetle car at the bottom and you jib it. So there's obviously lots of jibs, Project 6, video, movie and all that. But I just wanted to ride POW and drop big cliffs. And then when I left, kind of like I told you earlier, I was getting 5th a lot and 4th a lot. And sometimes if I was lucky, I'd get a 3rd because somebody would fall. But I wasn't podium, and I identified right away. I wasn't going to the Olympics, and I loved half pipe. That's the only reason I did it.
Did you have that? I think there was a year that Al Clark and maybe Johan or someone. Al Clark was like, let's qualify for the Olympics. Were you around for that?
Yeah. That was 97.
Right.
I was in that too.
You were in that, right?
Yeah, I think I qualified like 5th.
Right. Yeah.
Derek Height was there too.
Yep.
He did qualify.
He
I think.
qualified.
He went
right.
to Nagano,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Trevor Andrew, Mike Michalchuk, and there was one other Canadian.
Oh my God, what a crew! Like those, just that
Yeah.
list of people.
Isn't that
Holy
cool?
fucking
And
shit.
they were like, Michalchuk at that stage was
untouchable.
unknown. No,
Yeah.
he was unknown.
Oh, what?
He hadn't even done the wet cat or the Michalchuk flip yet.
He hadn't done it
He
yet.
hadn't done a double, but he was a trampoline guy, and he was always like acrobats and stuff, and he could
Yeah,
spin
yeah.
like on a mogul. He could do a 1080.
I don't think I ever saw Michalchuk. I don't think
He
I
was
saw
like
it.
my age, so we competed a lot
Yeah,
against each other.
but he wasn't like getting exposure in magazines and stuff.
No, not at all. He
Right.
didn't have that that mentality.
Right.
But then he kept at the competition, and then it was that U.S. Open '97 that he broke when Terrier said I think he podiumed like second or first, and he said today is Michalchuk's day because he did the first ever double. I was
Yeah.
there too.
Yeah. Wow.
I qualified to go into the U.S. Open. Out of 200 people, I qualified second, and I ended
Congrats.
up once again in like 14th.
That's the hardest
Honorable,
thing, hey?
but who gives a shit?
To qualify first or second, you just think, fuck, this is my contest.
but
and then
they have all the pre-selected guys that aren't in that 200. U.S. Open is
I
open
got you.
for all you douchebags like me to go.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then I was like on a high horse. I'm like, sweet, I did really good. I'm gonna work on that run, and then then they release the piece on you, the Terriers and the Daniel Franks and all that.
Yeah.
And then, but I still held up, and I remember even
Good for you, man.
I
Like,
got third in the Big Air that year,
Sick.
and I got second in the border cross or something.
That's fucking awesome.
I always did all three, and then there was
right.
one year they had a quarter pipe too, and I wasn't really good at quarter pipes. My cousin James was the quarter pipe king of North America for a few years. He won
Nice.
everything.
Yeah.
But I didn't do good at that. But I had 3 out of 3 decent results. But again, if you're not winning, fuck it.
So yeah.
Go
So
ride.
what was?
Go ride
Do you remember
mountains.
that era of like looking at it and going like, I could continue to compete and get 7th or 3rd
Yeah.
or whatever, and make
Yeah.
some money at it's fine.
And make my sponsors think I might go to the Olympics one day, so
Right,
they
right,
might
right.
keep me around.
Right. And then you were like, no.
And then
I'm
I was
gonna-
like, or I could be eating sandwiches on my sled, riding 3 fucked up lines a day that give you that
Yeah.
fucking asshole pucker factor.
When did you get the sled? What year? Do you remember?
I had sleds my whole life
Okay.
because we got them
Oh, yeah.
just after high school. So we were going out a lot on them. We didn't know what we were doing really, but we learned really quick. If you're talented on anything, you're talented on a sled. But we just they weren't capable sleds. They were like 136-inch track was like the mountain sled, an RMK
with the little
700.
Yeah.
So you weren't doing what you can do now, but it was great. A lot of the sled zones didn't exist, the parking lots, so we had to load and unload on the highway on the Trans-Canada.
Oh fuck.
And I remember one year Jonathan's like, I got to get my sled up there, and they were way heavier then, so you couldn't even come close to lifting them with 4 people. That's
Right.
how we used to get them in on the highway. So he put this piece of 1/2-inch plywood and tried to drive it up, snapped it clean in half, came back at his face, and never did that again.
Oh my god.
But yeah, it was really cool. It was a cool experience.
You guys
We just
rip
tried
in
to-
a way that not many people in the world rip. Like when you would go to other mountains with your skill set from here.
I appreciate that. That's
I could imagine
I
that.
don't know if I agree.
Really?
I definitely, we looked at the mountain differently, and we'd find quite often I was really surprised that lines had never been ridden before when we
Right.
go to mountains. So I
Right.
guess,
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking
I guess
about.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I just, yeah.
Well, Jonathan Moore has been Mike
we never got
Hatchett-
credit for that. So
Mike
it's-
Hatchett. Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
I
Mike
just-
Hatchett said on his episode, it was his first pull of, I asked him the question, was there ever anyone that just didn't have the support from sponsors that was just so fucking
I
good
heard it.
that you, yeah.
And
so
he mentioned, Jonathan.
He pulled Jonathan because his skills.
That was really cool.
When anyone talks about him, Kearns talks about, have you seen Jonathan's
Here's the thing,
stuff?
though. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
And I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And it's so great to get a little bit of credit.
Yeah.
What's it worth? 0. That was happening throughout the whole time. He was also in the game.
Right.
And I was
right.
getting credit from guys that should be giving credit. Like I remember Baker, who started Snowboard Magazine and worked at Snowboarder Magazine as the photo editor. He helped me get a cover of Snowboarder. An option didn't even advertise in the magazine.
Wow.
And he said, because it was a better photo and we love what you do.
Rad.
And this is you normally can't get covers. You'll never get a cover with Transworld.
Right.
Unless it's paid for,
To
bought
pay-
and
pay
paid.
to play.
And that's
Yep.
why I was never in Transworld.
Sure.
So, he was trying to get me an agent. Like it was so cool.
Wow.
But what I learned is harder to get an agent than a sponsor. Because if you're not an easy one call $1 million,
Right.
they don't give a fuck about you.
Huh.
Of course, it's a business. I understand.
Right.
I'm not mad at them for it.
You had a character
stop
that
pretending.
you were, though, that was like marketable to the right
Yeah,
to the
and
right people.
you know what? But it was, I'd say 90% it wasn't marketable to.
Right. Hey, of course.
You know?
Because you
And
were
I
being
thought they
unique.
would
You were
come and
being
find
uniquely
me.
yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
And help me out and support me, so I could also be like supportive of that brand. Because I was a loyal diehard. Like if somebody supported me,
That's fucking awesome.
I'm in.
Right.
Von Zipper for so many years.
Yeah.
And that was with one of my cute little
I love it.
resumes with all my photos. And I sat down
that's
with Von
great.
Zipper when they were this brand new fucking company, and they
Did they
took
have
like a Black
goggles yet?
Flies.
It was like glasses,
well,
right?
It was glasses. No, they had goggles.
Yeah. so-
When I approached them, it was like
I
2
rode
years
Von
in.
Zipper goggles pretty early on.
Von
at
Zipper
that time.
goggles
They
are
were
actually
rad.
incredible.
Yeah, they were
goggles.
rad.
Yeah.
They were super good.
And so that I still to this day, I'm all Von Zipper, you know.
Sick.
Yeah, I was wearing Oakleys today, but that's just because I'm an old dork now. and I just don't want my eyelashes brushing against my lenses, so I got something that's propped out on my face.
I wear my kids' stuff all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Because maybe my shit is wet. Like they have
Plus,
good shit.
you're in the
'cause-
scene if you wear your kid shit, because
there
they
you
know.
go. Yeah.
They know,
the
we
kid-
don't know.
They pick the right
They don't know.
colors. And the
Remember,
right
you
shit.
always had a dad who like had Vans on.
Yeah.
Like one of your friends' dads, you're
One-
like, that's
yeah,
so
that
cool. Your
guy,
dad
that
wears
guy.
Vans.
Yeah.
Because skateboarders were shit.
Yeah.
They were
yeah.
treated like shit in the
Totally,
world.
totally.
So if a dad supported you, and he didn't even know, he just was comfortable.
Right.
But you're
right.
like, are those etnies?
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh
God,
my
your
God.
dad's cut. I
dad
don't
get
like your
etnies?
dad. Respect.
Yeah, Palladini talked about that when I interviewed him at Vans. He's like, our generation, we would be caught dead in the fucked up shoes our parents were wearing.
Well, I got a pair of Heelys. Speak for yourself.
Well, your kids would ride. No, but
don't.
now our kids would wear the same shit as us without even thinking about it, right? Like, I'm wearing the same shoes as my kids sometimes.
I know. There's so much weird, fucked up psychology with kids. Like, everyone forces their identities on their children.
Dad talk.
Like, everyone's
I love
got
this.
like Star Wars
Sure,
shirts on their
sure.
like 2-year-old.
Right,
That kid
right.
doesn't care about Jabba the Hutt.
Right.
He didn't know Princess Leia was a babe.
Yeah, totally. The fact that my kids didn't love Star Wars was heartbreaking for me, but I was like, that's fine. That's
What's their
great.
thing though? You know, trolls, dog. Those little naked guys running around with cool
My
haircuts.
son went to the video store. Yes, there's still a video store in my neighborhood, and yes, we sometimes still rent
That's
videos
cool,
there.
though.
We
But still,
sent my
I'm
son
going
there
through
when he was,
withdrawal.
I don't know, 13 or something, 14. And he came back with the Trolls movie. And I was like, fucking serious right now?
VHS or DVD?
It was DVD.
If it was VHS, you would
and
have
we
been proud of
watched
him.
it. Yeah, that's true. That is true. But you know what? My kids, so the philosophy for me,
Yeah.
not that you're asking.
Oh, I
but
am.
Let's talk dad
I
talk.
love dad talk.
I was like, from a very
It's the
young
evolution.
age, I wanted to be a dad. From like way young, like
Me
7,
too.
8 years old. I could not wait.
I'm with you.
And I was also like, there was some spite there towards my parents. Like, you don't know how to parent.
Yeah.
I know how to parent. I could parent better than you, and I'm 10 years fucking old. This is a story that is going
That
to
is
maybe
funny.
make you laugh or maybe not, but to me, it's like fundamental.
Yeah.
In grade 6, I got a Cabbage Patch doll for Christmas because that's what everybody was getting.
I had
and we filled in the adoption papers and everything, and I was so proud of it. It's great. I brought it to Christmas dinner at lunch at my grandfather's house, and he said, "Why does your son have a doll?" and called me a bunch of words that are canceled. And I went out and sat in the car. So my dad came out and was like, you know, you should come in for lunch, but you should probably leave the doll in the car. And I said, Dad, you were there this morning when I adopted my son.
Yeah, you made a big deal out of it.
This is my adopted son. What kind of dad would I be if I was to leave my son in a cold car on Christmas?
You gave him
I just gave it to him. And I
massive
really thought that he was going to like have that moment
Yeah.
where he was like, all right, I'll go in and talk to him. He said, all right, you can stay in the car. I was already, I felt like I was already the fucking master dad
He was
at the
still
point.
trying to conquer his
He's
daddy
still
issues.
working on it now,
Yeah.
which is fine.
We all have that.
But I wanted to be a dad so early that, like,
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of knocked it out of the park with my
good
kids.
for you.
I let them be independent human beings 100% of the time and resisted the knee-jerk reaction. Like, I tried at the beginning.
Yeah.
I was like, no scooters,
Because what you know, too.
no rollerblades, no kid of mine is going to fucking scooter around.
Let me
I
save you
scooter.
time learning
Right.
scooters are stupid.
Yeah, they're so dumb.
We
Now,
saved you
here's a
2 years.
skateboard, then the kid falls and, oh, my arm.
Yeah.
They're like, why?
All his
I want-
friends have scooters,
Oh, my
so-
friends have scooters. So eventually,
Yeah.
I was worn down to the point where I had to accept whatever they chose was what they chose.
Yeah.
I was like, no Bieber, no Justin Bieber. That shit gets stuck in my head. I can't fucking think for 3 weeks after I hear one of those stupid pop songs. And I had
Good
to let it
marketing.
go. I had to let it go. They
Well, most people's parents also told them not to snowboard. They thought they'd save us time.
Right. That was the thing.
Fad.
Yeah. And I was like, you got to snowboard. You got to like Star Wars. You got to like heavy metal music for middle school. Like you're going to be the cool
But that's
kid.
that's your evolution. That's your journey too. Because learning that is pretty
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Oh,
Learning
it was
that
cool. It was
There's
cool.
no point.
Like
Star Wars isn't cool.
And then I realized the
4-year-olds.
resistance from my side was not creating anything cool. They're going to do what they do anyways. But then I
It's
found
not
that
creativity,
hack. I found the inside thing to be like, okay, tell me why you like watching someone else play a video game, because I just don't understand that
Yeah.
at all. That's
Yeah.
not how I grew up. And then my kid would explain it to me, and then I'd have a little bit of that inside vibe when the parents are just going, I don't know what the fuck's going on with my kid, watching YouTubers, whatever the fuck
They've
that is.
changed.
I kind of knew, right? Like
Yeah.
I'd hear about Mr. Beast, or my son would say, you got to
And you can also
check this
hear what
shit
it
out
sounds like coming from
from the
their
kids.
point of view.
So they would talk
That's cool.
openly in the car when I was there. Then I'd go back to the parents and say, "Oh my God, no, you don't have to worry about your daughter. She's cool. She's got
Yeah.
the." And they'd go, "How do you get the kids to talk in front of you?" I'm like, by not like saying everything that they're doing is wrong. Like
Yeah.
it's actually kind of easy.
You don't know music.
Yeah, exactly.
day.
Kids these days.
It's like, no.
Yeah,
They've
Lil
got
Yachty.
more technology. to
Lil
make
Yachty, what the fuck is
cooler
that?
music now.
Mumble rap? What the hell is mumble rap? You guys, this is breaking my fucking head.
Let me put on
Yeah.
the Eagles.
Yeah, and then I put on.
So
You
lame.
go to listen to Soundgarden, and it's like they're like, "This is sad, Dad.
Yeah.
Are you sad? Should we be
And the fact
worried
that
about
they
you?"
listen to a diversity, they don't.
Yeah.
You know, kids now aren't, creating their entire identity around hip hop. It's
Right.
like we listen
Right.
to everything. It's
Right.
like fuck, they're way ahead of us.
My daughter schooled me
punk
like
music,
this.
fuck the establishment. Fuck, there's still like 60-year-olds who have like houses in the Hamptons who listen to punks. Like, shut the fuck up. You're
Right.
not punks
Right.
anymore. Just, it's okay.
It's okay.
Be something different.
You're
a
who
different
you
person.
are.
You
and
were that.
Sure, you still like punk music. That's fine, but you're not a punk. I went to a punk show 2 days ago. I'm not a punk.
Yeah.
But I love Fear. Fear is fucking amazing. One of the
But
best
the
bands
nostalgia
ever.
made you feel good.
Holy fucking all the people that were there, the young kids now that are into punk rock music.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, way to go, guys. Like, you're fucking crushing it. That's dope. The Pit is maybe a little less gnarly than when we were younger. The Pit's kind of more friendly and
Yeah,
tame.
yeah.
A lot of people like kind of dancing around in there.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It is
right?
what it is. Yeah. But the main thing that I wanted to say about parenting for me, here's a turning point. When I was like, no auto tune. You're not allowed to play a song where the person doesn't know how to sing.
Mm-hmm.
That fucking sucks. And my daughter goes, auto tune just makes it fair for the rest of us who can't sing. And I was like, I get it. I get it now.
Touche.
Damn. Okay, that's fine. I understand.
Now you can be a singer, not just in the shower.
If you want, you can be a pop star,
Yeah.
and you don't even have to
Yeah.
sing. And
hopefully everyone becomes a pop star, and it brings that silly world to a level that's more manageable. And it's like we don't hold up this person who has one tiny gift. I can click my fingernails real good. I don't deserve $80 million and to be held above everybody else in society.
Celebrityism is a personal thing.
Yeah.
You are a celebrity to me. You were a celebrity to me growing up, like watching snowboarding, being into snowboarding. You guys are my celebrities, which I think, and I've said it all last year, I said it, the don't meet your heroes thing is just horseshit. It should be don't worship people who suck.
Yeah.
It should be make sure your fucking heroes are awesome.
That suck.
Yeah. Make sure your heroes are awesome. And I got to say, in the snowboard industry, like to a person, like when you meet like a big name snowboarder, they're a fucking dope human being.
Totally. And you might learn something about them that makes them more human than you ever held.
Yeah.
And I learned that too. I had my snowboard heroes, and I have a pen pal relationship with Kevin Jones.
I love it.
We haven't even met. Well, we were at a few contests, but he liked Throw Your Panties.
Of course.
So he got my number from Willie in Jackson, and he said, I want to call this guy and tell him I liked his movie.
Dope.
And we chatted for like 2 hours on the phone. He told me all these amazing fly fishing spots, and we just connected. But we're not bros. We don't go out together or anything. We just have a mutual respect for each other.
We gotta do a trip where you go to Boreal and you ride with Kevin Jones and you guys just.
Oh yeah, I'm sure if ever the opportunity comes.
Like the buddy comedy.
I'd
oh my
love
God,
that. He was an inspiration too.
Yeah, your guys' sense of humor is on the same.
That's
level.
That's probably why I liked personality riders.
Yeah, me too.
Because they gave you. We know everyone can snowboard who's in the limelight.
It's true.
And they all snowboard a different way, and some better than others. I never consider myself a talented snowboarder. I don't mind saying that.
Come on.
No, honestly, I really am well controlled at falling. I'm fucking one of the best at it. But I know I see so many guys who are more talented, less balls. So they'll never succeed.
Right.
Even with all their talent. It's not talent that gets you there. Of course it makes you that extra little bit, but you need some sort of weird psychology that somehow gets you there. Mikey LeBlanc, hilarious. And of course I remember a few of his snowboard shots too, but I remember mostly his skits and his personality that he gave us.
And he's still giving
us.
Did you watch?
Relief.
Did you watch?
I'm out of the scene. I'm not out.
I'm giving you this
deliberately
as a wonderful gift from Mike to you directly. He did a movie this year that is it's 8 minutes or something, and it is.
And he's back to Mike.
And it's back to Mike, start to finish.
He's wearing cop outfits and
he's in an old age home.
He's in
an old age home, and he's seeing himself on the TV going, "Hey, that's me! Don't turn it off! Don't turn it off!" And they turn it off, and then someone breaks him out, and he rides in the old man stuff.
Yeah,
it's fucking awesome.
How long is it?
8 minutes, something like that.
Okay, what's it called?
Old man. I should know.
I'll just put Michael LeBlanc.
Yeah.
You don't need names anymore. You can just find shit.
Yeah, it's like
AI.
It's assisted living. That's what it's called.
Assisted
living. Mikey LeBlanc,
That's
assisted living.
That's a good name.
Yeah, because he's a creative. The only space that was ever interesting to me in snowboarding was the creative space, right? Like when someone would do something, even if it was one of those top tier Terrier guys doing something that's never been done at a, like that's creative. That's cool. But like the transfers that were the quirkiness, the like skits in between,
People
the personality.
Could just see that jumps didn't just have a takeoff and a landing. I always liked those riders.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they knew they had some funny bullshit on the hike back up to talk about.
Yeah, the banter.
They were lucky enough to have a camera pointed at them for all of our comedy relief.
Because the people who film recognize this is fun to film.
And none of those film guys got paid. The guys who filmed the funny shit that we all remember, they were the hard-working slaves.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And they'll do it again.
How did you get hooked up with Sandbox? Were you a rider in the movie and then you started to film, or?
I went to West Beach Classic way back when. Kevin Sandstone had just won the second place in the X Games.
No, he
or
got
second?
first. He got an X Games gold, then he won the West Beach.
And he won the West Beach on an option because he was, but he wasn't sponsored by option.
Right.
So that night I'd been on option since I was 16.
Rad.
I was their longest running
I didn't know that.
rider. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
It was my first, and if they didn't go in an American direction and fire all of us Canadians, which in turn ended them.
It did.
Like
it
to
actually
pretend
did.
It was because of me,
It was
my
'cause they cut
dismissal.
you.
But
Right,
anyway,
right.
it wasn't. I loved riding for option. Best boards I've ever ridden. It was the only board I've never been able to break. Ever in my
You should get a
entire
wired.
history.
Dow is making.
I don't doubt that.
He has option material from the option factory.
Oh, there you go. So they're
that
options.
He just has it tucked away for special board.
Oh, he should be
So if you
marketing
want,
that,
if
though.
you want an actual option board made for you, just reach out to him.
But then what would I do with my 10-year-old Jones board?
You would keep that on your wall.
You know,
would
kids.
sign
You know,
it.
kids today
Yeah.
think I'm riding a 2015 because they've seen the 14 lineup and it's not that.
But yes, so you loved option, and you were
Loved
a
it.
great fit for that company.
Yeah. So then I met Kevin that night. We all went out to the Max Bell. I was like fresh 18, so I was 19, so I was allowed in. I probably was 18. I don't give a fuck.
Sure.
And I met Kevin, and he was all drunk and like the rock star in the corner in a booth.
Kevin.
Yeah, and Option was just feeding him drinks and praise because they wanted him on the team, and
They
he
sure
signed with
did.
Option that week.
They sure did.
And so then I was like, okay, well, we're on the same team together. I had a real good sense of team. Like I always wanted
Cool.
to ride with or get to know everybody.
Yeah.
And he opened his home and like heart to the team, and he let me stay at his place, and I was like, kind of
Rad.
like I just didn't like to be a stranger and didn't like, imposing. So I was really grateful. But then he, just as a joke, we did snow jams. We did all those snow jam circuits. They were just awesome.
Yeah.
Just drinking and having fun with your buds. And then he made Skids 2, it was called.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or he made Skids 1.
Skids 1
which
was
never
co-
was released. I think he made 50 copies.
I saw
and
it.
Gave them away with
We had
his
it.
board.
Yeah, we had it at the
And
shop.
he had like a claim section and all
the
this.
claim section, right?
And he had a
That
few
was
shots of me in
awesome.
there.
Yeah.
And we had a premiere for it. But then, so we were like, let's do Skids 2. He was. And I was like, I'm in. I'm going to be one of these skids with you guys.
Sure.
You know?
Keatley's still in it
So,
at that
yeah,
point.
yeah, Keatley's everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
And Derek Scott. And
Oh, wow.
and it was awesome because it was just such a band of brothers.
Yep.
And it was fighting, fucking, and snowboarding kind
Yeah.
of thing. It
Yeah,
was,
you
like,
couldn't
tough
play.
and-
You couldn't play Skids 2 at the shop because there was nudity.
Yeah,
There was
a
like
quick tit here and a tit
drinking,
there, here,
there was-
tit there, tit there, punch.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like mother friendly. And then, and I just loved that. Like I was just like, I was thirsty to not do the fucking boring Olympic road.
Right.
But
right.
I still was, a half pipe competitor or whatever. But yeah, so, and then I just would go out to Whistler because that was Hollywood and there's no industry. It was so hard to get work done in Banff. Once in a while, there's a photographer who understood how to, sell photos. And then I just would go out and visit them. They'd come out and visit me in Banff, and it got to Skids, Never Trust a Man with a Mustache and Flavor Country.
Yeah.
And then Sandbox
yeah.
changed, and we did all these little mini trips in Norway and to Blue River, Mike Wigley's, and it was just really cool. Yeah.
What a fun
and we
group
got
of
along
people.
really good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because I can remember the shift at Sandbox where it was like Skids seemed like a local movie, camcorders.
Mm-hmm. Camcorders.
And then
These days it'd be
Sandbox
phones.
was yeah, exactly, a phone movie. And Sandbox seemed like all of a sudden it had turned a corner and it had become legit projects.
Yeah, it was Kevin going bit more business,
Yeah.
and he needed to because he can't just do all that grungy shit for too long.
Right.
And he wanted to create a product that he was proud of, and he was the businessman, so he had some really great guys working with him, Mikey HK and Robin, and they were creative and they could make a cleaner cut product, and yeah. But me and Jonas and I we would always still make ridiculous centerpieces. And I remember one year it was really important to have the opening section, you know, when it was like, oh, you got opener?
Yeah.
And I was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
Kev, how come I always have the longest part in the movie, but I never get opener?
Yeah,
I was like, isn't that supposed to be the important part? He's like, he just goes, we could never use your part in the opener. We need your part in the middle. It's got to break up the movie.
Right,
Like,
right.
It's like the comedy relief of
It's a chapter change.
Not
It's
maybe
a-
not the
yeah.
comedy relief,
Yeah.
just the vibe change.
Yeah.
Because you can't just run. You know, a lot of the guys all rode together. They grew up together. They rode identically to each other. They're really talented.
That's
but you
true.
can't run 8 of those parts together. And then
Yeah.
there, all of a sudden, what a great introduction was Jonas and Andrew's part. And I always edited Jonas's right after mine.
Sick.
Because it just needed to be together because it was the same kind of lines and you could almost compare as you dare a lot of times.
I love it.
I always did a better line though. Everyone knows that. Jonas just walked into the room.
Should we do a switch over right now where
I think
Jonas
so.
comes in?
I think so.
We just did an hour and a half.
As much as I love the sound of my
and
own
we're
voice.
we're going to do another hour and a half in the future
Yeah.
because I just love talking to you.
Yeah.
It's too much fun. You're
Let's-
a Canadian legend and like such a huge part of the scene and you're underrating yourself if you don't think that you were an amazing rider because your riding was
I was
really
an amazing stuntman.
it turned
I was the only one who embraced gravity to its mathematical equation correctly.
yeah you could you were
Not
getting
the only
those
one, but-
you were getting those fourths and fifths though so
Those
and
fourths
that-
and fifths go a long way with the ladies. That means I get fifth choice. The other thing, too, I want to say, I appreciate that, but you're doing the exact same thing right now by sharing the word, the gospel.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
I love doing it.
I love your
It's
podcast.
so much fun.
And I love that you brought up that Mike Hatchett
Jonathan Moore
clip
thing.
because
Yeah.
I just heard that.
I'm glad that you did.
I think Jeff Patterson just posted it. And I
He
was
did.
Like,
He came.
fucking
He
great.
pulled it out and
Yeah.
put it out there. And so big ups to
for
Patterson
what it's worth,
he's rad.
it's amazing. Yeah.
Big ups to Jonathan,
Yeah.
Mike Hatchett, yourself.
Well,
Like
I loved
fuck,
Hatchett's
dude.
movies. I grew up on those.
Yeah.
You get
Heavy
that
metal
VHS,
and VHS.
and you get and
Yeah.
you everyone would pitch $5 and we'd either go to Jonathan's house, but he only had a 13-inch TV with the VCR attached because I guess he didn't believe in technology, or we'd go to Robbie Ford's house who had a damn 40-inch back projection because
Oh
his
my
dad
God.
owned the audio video store.
That's
and,
awesome.
And he always had lots of space. So anyway, kudos to Mike Hatchett. I grew up watching him. He was a big part of why we love the big mountains, I
He
think.
still is.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch those movies, you'll notice like the song changes. Like you have a body felt reaction to like, oh my God.
I never liked the music,
Right. Nobody did.
but
I didn't even like
sure-
it back then, but I like it now.
Love the perfection.
Yeah, the
of
perfection
those
is
movies,
unbelievable.
and
Yeah.
nothing got redundant. The writing didn't get redundant.
I agree.
But and in the same breath, I'm going to say, the robot food videos were what
That was it.
inspired me to or showed me that you can do whatever the
Quirk.
fuck you want.
But
with
it doesn't
a
have
snowboard
to be the
movie.
biggest, gnarliest thing anymore. It's
Yep.
like people that are riding really well, having fun with their friends.
Zooming right in on their toes
I loved it.
while they slash a dirt patch.
Yeah.
That's cool. Jess Gibson,
Sick.
man I fish with.
All right, so tag team here. You
All right,
tag out.
team. I got him on the ropes.
Snowboarding's never been my business.
Did you ever get? Did you like? Did you
I
get
made,
paid enough to not do anything else?
I think for a while I did.
Yeah.
I had some contracts with some different companies for photo incentives and that sort of thing, and filming part incentives and stuff. But once when I started filming with Andrew for skids and stuff like that, I didn't do any. Really wasn't making any money at that. I was doing other things to make money.
Like working on the side.
Yeah, working
Yeah.
at the ranch, running my family business in Kananaskis, and not, just doing the snowboarding for fun mainly. And
When did you get into it? You get into it about the same time? as
Yeah,
Hardingham?
exactly about the same time.
Yeah.
And just almost identical timing.
So he had the Kelly Micro Air, which was the badass board at that time. What did you have?
I actually started with a Sims blade, one 61.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long for a 12-year-old kid.
But the base graphic on it, you could identify that with so much cool shit that was going on out there
Oh.
that you're like, this is the badass board.
Yeah, this is a badass board.
Yeah, yeah.
And actually was used board that I got from the snowboard shop in Calgary.
Oh,
yeah,
sick.
From Ken
Yeah.
Rock.
Yeah, there was a divide between the snowboard shop and some other shop. I don't know.
Freewheeling.
Yeah, between freewheeling. Right,
and,
right.
And then there was always obviously Rude Boys in Banff.
Yeah.
Growing up, and then in Canmore we had what was known as Frozen Ocean.
I remember Frozen Ocean.
That was
that was
my
badass.
buddy Rob Sternloff, and I actually just shot some geese with, or I was shooting some clay pigeons with him actually on Saturday before me and Andrew went goose hunting. So
That's real. You guys out here for your whole life have had that, like hunting, fishing,
Yeah.
outdoor, and then in the winter it's snowboarding,
Yep.
fires in the backcountry,
Yeah.
just fucking outdoorsman.
Yep, you bet.
That's the real deal.
Yep.
That's not
Yeah.
like that's a fucking awesome life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And lots of, I guide and outfit hunting trips from September 1st to end of November. So
Right.
3 months we're staying in tents and in the backcountry with the horses and stuff like that. And
Oh wow. Do they fly in like caches of
no, we'll
stuff
pack
for you?
everything in with the
Pack
horses.
everything in.
I have a couple hunting camps that we've helicopter the camps in.
Yeah.
For November, and then the hunters just hike in and with the guides and stuff and do it that way. So.
Yeah, I'm hoping to buy property in Valemount actually.
Oh yeah.
And it's it's an outdoor.
I spent 14
Swell.
winters in Blue River when I was married with Michelle Wigley and
I had no idea you were married to the daughter of Mike Wigley.
yeah.
Holy
Yeah, so
fuck.
Mike was one of my best friends actually.
Oh
And-
wow. Sorry for your loss, first of all.
Yeah.
And also that must have just been fucking awesome.
Yeah, well, it was amazing. It's an
Yeah.
amazing place and amazing family.
Yeah. So would you get like staff spots in the bird
Yeah,
sometimes?
yeah, and then like times when Andrew would come up and we'd Mike could just fly us around and shoot stuff, and
Wow.
or when the Skids guys came up a bunch of times, and
They got heli laps at Wigley's.
yeah, actually it's in a few of their parts and Sandbox,
Yep.
and Sandbox 2 maybe or
Sure.
whatever,
Skids
Flavor
too.
Country.
or Flavor Country,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Don't never
so-
trust a man with a mustache. was
No, I
one
don't
of
think
those
not
ones.
in those days.
Yeah.
No, it was more with the Sandbox crew.
Sick.
Yeah,
Sick.
so-
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So, did you compete and stuff? I don't know that much about your
I
career.
I did. I was on the World Cup tour for a lot of years, and got Canada a spot at the Olympics in the second Olympics that was going on in halfpipe.
It's 2002. Is
Yeah.
that what that is?
Yeah.
Where was it that year?
Shit, I can't even remember. I'm not sure. I know I tried out for the one in Nagano
Yeah.
and that one.
Yeah.
But leading up to that second one, I did a couple years on the World Cup
It was
tour.
Salt Lake City. 2002, I think, was Salt Lake City.
You know what it would have been? Was
I
it
don't-
98, 2002?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so-
you didn't go? You got a spot on the team?
No, I got a spot for Canada to have a spot, and then
Yeah.
the politics and the bullshit that went along with it. It came down to other shit. That they were completely looking more image style.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That really happened?
That really
So
happened.
how do they break it to you? What, they
Well,
you
no,
get you a phone
I
call
think,
and say,
somebody had to get the spots through the World Cup tour.
yep.
But then they broke it into other criterias. Don't quote me on that. But,
sure. No,
it
I
came
get
down
it.
to like the qualifying events within the country,
Yep.
so that certain guys didn't even have to go on the tour
Right.
as much as they had Canadian qualifiers to get to the who got to go. But
Yeah.
no, it was a good experience, and I traveled all over Europe and.
Did it
And,
make you? I love the shirt guy in a buffalo. It's
Yeah,
so
that's my old
fucking
man.
Dope. Is that really?
That's
your-
my dad.
Hold on.
Yeah. Yeah.
The guy on a buffalo.
I'm the son of a guy on a buffalo, yes.
You're being for real right now?
I'm
You're
dead
not
serious.
fucking with me?
Not fucking with you one bit.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Jamie Lynn loves guy in a buffalo.
He's a really good friend of mine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
he's met the guy on a buffalo. He came to my house, and
unfucking
I think about 5 years ago, and we spent a week together in Canmore and Kananaskis and
That's fucking awesome.
painting shit and
So
skating.
the guy in the Buffalo, it's not a spoof, is it? It's
No,
it's like
he trained. He was working on some movies down in Utah in the '70s.
Yep.
And with a group of guys that were training the animals that were in a lot of the movies, like I don't know, like Jeremiah Johnson or
sure,
and
the big Western movies.
yeah, and up into the same guys have trained for movies like Legends of the Fall and stuff. But in the '70s, yeah, he was working with those guys. Thank you very much. And so when he was over looking at some animals to buy for this guy, the guy happened to have a buffalo that was pretty friendly and tame and young.
Yeah.
And so the guy said, yeah, throw him in and I'll buy him or whatever. So then they wrote the movie around based on him training the buffalo. And once he got him, well, maybe I can ride him. So then the movie was developed called The Buffalo Rider. And they produced it.
Yep.
And you can see it on YouTube, the full length feature film.
Yep.
In the 70s, in 76, I believe. And then whatever, wasn't a huge hit.
Sure.
And then when YouTube came out, and the band, the Possum Posse,
Yep.
from Texas, they wrote that they saw the movie, happened to see it somewhere, and then said, we got to do something for this. So then they wrote the songs, Guy on a Buffalo. And we actually had him up at our ranch for a big fundraiser 5 years ago, before COVID. And my dad got on a buffalo for the first time in 42 years.
Holy
At the
shit.
event, it was a fundraiser for some kids from Calgary with cancer.
Wow.
And so we put on this day event at the ranch, and then he got on the buffalo and the
With
band.
Possum
and
Posse
Yeah, we
and
flew
the
the
guy
flew
on
the
the
band
buffalo.
up, and they were there for a week. And Hardingham came out and filmed it.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
And you know, him and my dad get along real good, and he's done quite a few hunting shows and stuff. Hardingham's filmed a bunch of them.
Sick.
Different hunting shows, such as the Canadian Tradition. It's a big one, and he's come out and been a cameraman on that. So Hardingham came out and filmed it, and they got smashed for a week. It was pretty awesome, with the guy who owned the buffalo that was from Longview. So
Wow.
It was a pretty good group of dudes out at the ranch.
That's fucking so like sometimes people will make assumptions about me being Canadian when I'm down in the States.
Yeah.
That are based on you guys.
Yeah.
Like on what goes on out here.
Yeah.
Like shooting guns, drinking beers, building fires.
Yeah.
And fucking around.
Riding buffalo.
Yeah. And I mean, we were always trying. Like, as Canadians, our beer's pretty good, and we can handle our beer a lot of the time. Get up early in the morning, get the shots, go out. Like,
Yep.
That's a reputation that I think we've earned.
For sure. In the filming end of things with, in my career, not getting up early, especially when filming with this guy, staying out late, not getting up early, because it's always blue in Alberta, getting
Yeah.
a shot anyway.
Right.
And enjoying it.
That's badass.
You know, so, and especially when I started filming, you know, I obviously, when I was younger and still, you know, was filming some parts with K2 and stuff like that.
Yep.
Earlier, it was completely different deal. That was the get up early, but
Right.
once
right.
it kind of
that was the job.
yeah, it was a job.
That was the job.
And then spending a bunch of probably 14 or a bunch of winters in Blue River, and not having that as a job, just having that sort of thing as life. And then when my friends had come up to visit me, it was just like an awesome thing to be able to go and have fun and do it, and the filming. And that's why our parts were obviously so unique, because we would look at it in a, you know, be driving up the Icefields Parkway to Jasper, back and forth from Kananaskis to Blue River,
Yep.
just being like, that's gonna get done in the spring, that's gonna get done, and then talking to Hardingham and going, I got a list of
I
things.
picked a bunch of
Yeah.
shit that we're gonna film.
And that's what I was talking to somebody about today. Was I've in the last 4 or 5 years, especially this year actually, I with a broken leg this early winter, I went ice fishing a lot, but I was just looking at this stuff going, you know, if I was younger, or if But I know a bunch, and I know Hardingham said the same thing too. We have a handful of things that would be so rad to see somebody do. We just need a daredevil to come out and do it. And
Hardingham just described himself as a daredevil, and I think, when I think of Jonathan Moore, I think of you, I think of Hardingham, that style of riding, there's a part of it that was not congruent with like the fucking
Rest
cool
of snowboarding.
guys, what was going on, what people, like what a team manager could look at and understand and go,
exactly.
why aren't you doing that? Like why aren't you guys going and hitting big kickers or building like something and coming up with a nice backdrop, or like what is it that you're thinking you're fucking doing here?
Yeah.
But for us, the people that love snowboarding, that was the fucking shit. That was like the underrated, like best shit you could do.
Yeah, like because you can't get down a lot of these mountains. You can't get down them without going over some rocks.
Right.
And
Right.
yeah, and then that was kind of like, well, if we're gonna be trying to do that line, there's this to get there.
Yeah.
You're
Let's
gonna
film
hit
it.
some rocks. Let's
Yeah,
do it.
let's film it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Well, so the part for me this year that cracked wide open was there's this guy I met at Donner Ski Ranch, and he's got a brand with his buddies that's never been sponsored, right?
Right.
Like that was his thing.
Yeah.
Was that they did, and there are people at kind of every resort that were just like, I'm not jumping on that bullshit. Look at those guys filming. They're stuck there.
Yeah.
They're not moving around. Like
Yeah.
that's not snowboarding. Fuck those guys. It sounds like you guys were kind of a bridge between those two things.
Kind
like,
of. Maybe. Yeah. I've never
Yeah.
looked at it that way.
Like that you didn't chase it so bad. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
you're trying to get on Team Canada, go to
Yeah.
the Olympics. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not like...
If we didn't, when we
Yeah,
didn't,
yeah.
when we didn't,
When
not
you didn't.
if we,
Right,
if
right,
we
right.
didn't,
Right,
we
right.
didn't. But
Yeah.
when we didn't, we still had a passion for snowboarding. I think, and it still kept us in, and still had a drive to explore wilder, different avenues.
Yeah.
Rather than going to a jump and hitting it with 50 other guys.
Was there shit that you did that was better than some of the stuff that was filmed that you just did because you were out there and you saw it and you fucking did it? Or was it
like around here? Yeah, because like.
rad?
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff. Like you look at the picture that's in the background right there.
Yep.
I don't know if Andrew pointed it out, but there's
No.
a million things on that in that picture
Yeah.
that have been done, that we've done, and a little to the right of that picture, but that never been seen.
Never been
before.
filmed.
No,
Nobody filmed
no,
it.
And
You guys
Hardingham
did it for fun.
has some of the best shots out of that area, out of anybody.
Yeah.
That actually got filmed.
I remember seeing the stuff that he was filming and being like, that looks like there's no snow there.
No.
Like that looks like it's just bony,
Rocky.
and sharky and dangerous as fuck.
Yeah.
Like
It's
yeah.
just wide.
Yeah. And just being like, okay, well I guess he knows what he's doing. Like
Yeah, well,
obviously
yeah.
he got the shot.
If you don't know what you're doing in that sort of stuff, you can't West Coast land it
Right.
without taking a couple hot ones
Right.
through the ribs.
Who were your guys when you were growing up that you were looking up to that you wanted to
Greg
emulate?
Todd's
Yep.
was probably the biggest one for me, and I spent a lot of time with him and when he was getting the Trout Lake thing going on.
The
building the
godfather of snowboarding,
Yeah.
of what has now become POW surfing,
Yeah,
which is
exactly.
huge.
Yeah.
And he was so far ahead of the curve. on
Totally.
that. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
So like you hung with him in Trout when he was
Trout, I
getting that
did a
going?
lot of. I spent a couple solid seasons going back and forth from Revy to Trout with Greg and fishing with him, and yeah, so just like getting stuff down to the cabin and going sledding out of the cabin and
Yeah.
and
By all accounts, just an incredible human being.
yeah, oh, totally,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, and even dating back to like when I was a kid at Lake Louise, doing the contest in Alberta, because Alberta has a really good contest tour for younger people, which I don't know what it's like now, but it was like every weekend or every other weekend there was an event somewhere, and any snowboard kid that snowboarded or wanted to snowboard would be there.
Rad.
And Greg Todd's was always there at the in the Masters, at most of the ones like Lake Louise and stuff like that, but he was always in the Masters category, and,
Yep.
and we would always poke him because he was old then, but we were 12 or 13 years old poking at him, and and then when he moved to Revy, we were getting a little older, and it was just when we got into sleds and stuff.
Yeah,
like
was
that.
Revy like? Did they have some chairlifts there at that point?
No,
It was
there was a little ski hill there, but
Tiny.
no, we were just sledding basically at Boulder.
right.
And
Yeah, because Revy was a catboarding destination.
yeah, and Scott Newsom was a big one for me too, because
yeah, right.
knowing Newsom from Lake Louise as well, and
Yeah.
Greg Todd's building the first super pipe at Lake Louise
Yep.
in that June season, which was awesome. It just taking the lift up and walking over there,
Yep.
and getting to ride that, and
Rad.
just with a select few
What?
guys.
Yeah. What did that feel like? Did it feel like
it was like,
you're like, this is gonna change everything?
this is gonna change everything. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it was just so cool. The vibe was just like, almost like that Whistler Blackcomb summer feeling, because I'd done the summer thing quite a bit, and the hood thing. But this Lake Louise, when they had that summer, was June, so it was really late. But it still had that same vibe, but it was different because it was at Lake Louise, because it was at our home mountains, right?
At home, right?
Yeah,
Right.
Which was pretty cool.
Who were the people that you remember from that small?
Alan Clark,
Yeah.
Scott, Drake Glover,
Rad.
and Tim, lots of guys, and Jonathan and Hardingham, and
Yeah.
myself, my friend Kelly Skovanik, that you might have heard of.
Skovanik, yeah. I've heard the name.
Yeah, I grew up with him in Canmore.
Oh, sick.
And he was an amazing snowboarder as well. You might want to talk to him sometime, actually.
I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but,
you'll have to link me up with that guy for sure. Yep. Yeah, because so Sean Sullivan claimed the super pipe just in name, because he called the super pipe. He called it a super pipe at Blackcomb. That, remember, like the 1 foot Palmer thing, and the I think Noah's in there too. But it's a fucking 8 feet tall.
I had a sticker on my fishing rod. It says super pipe on it.
That's rad.
Yeah.
That's rad. So this first super pipe would have been 18, 20? How deep was it?
Shit, I want to say like not 20, I don't think, but it was probably in that 18 maybe.
Yeah,
But it wasn't even, it was just a hand cut pipe.
Yeah, it was hand dug.
You know, and I'd dug some big half pipes in Hood.
Yeah.
I think after that. Yeah, after that, like with Tim Wells.
Yeah.
Or is it Tim Wells?
Yeah, Tim Wells.
Yeah, with Tim Wells in Hood.
Yeah.
I actually saw Tim Wells about 10 years ago, or maybe about 10 in Nelson, BC, when they had the first
Rad.
bowl event in BC there at Whitewater.
Nice.
And,
Yeah. That's dope.
The Gentem
Yeah.
guys were there.
Yeah.
And I seen Tim
That's fun.
kicking around. I hadn't seen him in.
So what size had you dug at Hood? Like, did they were doing 16s?
Yeah,
or
they were
something,
doing
right?
16.
Yeah.
I think when we started boxing it out, it was close to 18.
Yes.
By the time it got cut 4 days later, it was 16.
Right. That makes sense.
And that was an awesome size half pipe.
And that was crazy shit went down in that half pipe that summer.
And then
tons.
After it was in Lake Louise, they moved it to Garibaldi.
Yes.
And that was a cool
They ran
experience.
that camp for a year or two.
2 years,
2 years.
And
right.
that was the coolest setup in the world.
Yeah.
And that was, again, Alan Clark and Greg Todd's putting that together, right?
Yeah.
And that was amazing. Those were some amazing
so
times.
many rippers attended that.
Oh, man.
Like youngsters.
I remember hitting that
everybody.
court. And they had a couple of sessions there that were early winter.
Yeah.
Or in the winter still.
Sure.
And we went up there, and there was just a quarter pipe contest, and they had so much snow at that lodge. Everyone was standing there, and they'd have you'd have to walk down to get in the lodge in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
And then it was like, it just looked like that, and then they'd cut it out with the cat into just one great big straight up and down quarter pipe. It was amazing.
That's fucking
But then in the
sick.
summer, those quarter pipes were just like, I don't know, they had to be 20-something feet high, and they were just a straight-up wall.
Right.
Which I really got into the quarter pipe thing, hitting those from Lake Louise to those quarter pipes, and then and then a few other contests that you could go to, or big airs or whatever from New Zealand. Me and my friend Kelly did we did 3 seasons doing New Zealand with Hardingham, actually.
Yeah.
To New Zealand and Australia in the summer, our summer, their winter, and doing the big air tours and snowboard contest scene down there.
What level was your snowboarding at? Like, what was the progression of snowboarding at that time? Like, your pipe run, would it be like a couple of 7s and a 5 and a
I wasn't
thing,
really
or was
the
it
7 guy.
Yeah.
I would I'd say my best pipe runs would have a 7 in them.
Yep.
Mine would be more like the backside McTwist.
Yep.
A backside McTwist, and I used to be able to do these really long alley-oop McTwists where you could float down the pipe.
Yeah.
In Japan, and then
Sick.
do a backside air, and then go like a backflip fakie,
Nice.
and then do a hawk and flip at the end. Right?
So yeah. So like this is like the equivalent of like single corks. Like
Yeah.
before people are doing
Yeah.
double corks, you guys are corking.
Yeah.
And you might get, like you just described, a run that's got like 5 flips in it.
Yeah.
That's fucking
Yeah,
awesome.
totally.
Yeah, so what a heyday of snowboarding at that
Yeah.
point. Like,
Oh, for sure.
Just like the best. The progression is more and more each year.
Yeah, exactly.
And nothing's stagnant.
No.
Even equipment is being made better.
It is.
And boots and everything year to year.
And you're testing it.
Yeah.
You're breaking a lot of boards.
Yeah.
And man, I don't know how many K2 snowboards I snapped in half in like 3 months.
Right,
Like we're
right.
talking 10.
Sure. Yeah.
Just clunk, clunk,
Yeah,
clunk.
because you're riding and everything's huge at that time. Like,
it's getting bigger.
Yeah.
It's not like what it is. Obviously, huge being not what it is now.
right.
It,
right.
And just the overall design, but for those days, it was perfect.
Would you go down to Vashon? Like, would you go to K2 when they were in Vashon?
I was dealing with the guys out of Ashon, like Dave
Yeah.
Billinghurst and
Yep.
and Inglesman and
Yeah.
fucking Savard and stuff. And Brian was always a really good friend of mine too.
Rad.
Through kind of a K2 connection, but
Yep. And he's an outdoorsman. Like, he
yeah,
did a fishing show after.
And I
he's-
haven't seen Brian in a long time.
You know,
but-
now he builds skate parks.
Yeah.
It's nuts, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brian, I called Brian on his landline. I
Oh,
just called his house. And,
you will have to give me his number.
Oh,
because-
yeah, I'll give it to you. I have it
Yeah.
on my phone. I have his
Yeah,
cell
because we
on
got a
my
lot
phone.
of people that have.
But that was a K2 era that was like pretty fucking
and
badass.
doing the photo shoots and filming shoots. I filmed a couple parts for their videos.
Rad.
Geez, I can't even remember what they're called now. But anyways, I had a couple good parts.
Did you go to Festical? Was that a
Yeah.
K2 thing?
Oh yeah. No, I gotta tell you about the story about this one.
Yeah, let's hear it.
That was Festival, and so we were shooting, and me and a buddy John Lang,
Yep.
that was with K2 at the time, and we spent some time in Mount Hood together. Anyways, we were at Baker, and it was awesome. The snow conditions were good. It snowed for quite a while, and it cleared up. And Tim,
Oh, he's up here now.
Tim
Zimmers?
Zimmerman.
Yeah,
yeah. So
Tim Zimmerman.
I think it was Zimmerman.
Yep.
Yeah, he shot a photo that was in Transworld of me dropping off of the Hemisphere Ridge.
Sick.
And then and then later that day I dug my buddy John Lang out of a slide.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
In Oi Valley, like under the
down the what do you call it?
down the arm.
Yeah, down all those fingers.
Oh shit.
Down
Oh no, in
Hemisphere
the
Ridge.
canyon. Yeah, that's
Off of Hemisphere Ridge.
Yeah, in the canyon. I forget what that's called right now. But
Yeah, Hemisphere
yeah.
Ridge is what
Yeah,
they call it.
yeah.
But
yeah.
then we went out to Tabletop,
Yeah.
and everything was sliding.
Yeah.
Like
Fuck.
everything, the whole thing was pulling out.
Oh God.
And then after that day, yeah, the cameraman couldn't even get down because everything was just aviating down there once
my
we were
God.
back there, and then me and John proceeded to get completely shittered and pulled my snowmobile out of the back of the truck at
No.
1 a.m. and tandemed up Table Mountain
Oh my God.
in the dark, and in the morning it was just sitting beside my truck. And
That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah,
Right? That's a pretty big deal.
The county sheriff was there in the morning, and there's a trail going, a snowmobile track, fucking right up to the top.
wow.
And it was everywhere.
Right.
And we
Right.
went completely off in the dark. And
Yep. I bet nobody's ever done that other than you.
Anyways, I got a little. I just took the whole thing. Anyways, he ended up helping me load my snow machine and driving me partway back to the Canadian border.
Just following you and escorting you out of the area,
out of the United States. Actually,
please get out of the
state of Washington. No, it was like, you're out of here.
That's fucking awesome. How was that lap in the middle of the night?
I can't even remember.
Yeah.
We were corked.
Oh, wow, man. That's a fucking story right there.
Yeah.
That's insane, dude.
Hey,
Yeah, because having your sled up it's a protected area.
out of the back of the truck, and that was kind of a spring type deal too.
Yep.
So the hill wasn't really open.
Yeah. Well, they would usually throw it like the week or two after the hill closed.
Yeah.
So there's still, basically it's rideable terrain all over the place. It's hikeable. It's a pretty good hiking spot
It is,
in the
yeah.
world. One of the best.
It'd be great for sledding.
And Table, I came out to Vancouver in '93.
Yeah.
And the first thing we did was we drove down to Baker, hiked up Table,
Yeah.
rode the little bit of snow that
It's
was
cool.
left. Fuck, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe you rode on a snowmobile.
Yeah.
That's insane. Insane.
Yeah, they were not fucking very happy about that.
Was the sheriff like he didn't give you a ticket or anything?
No, but he
Yeah.
definitely followed me partway down, and
Yep.
and it was important, and I got back into Canada that day.
Fucking awesome, man.
Yeah, we had a pretty good time.
So, were you based out of here the whole time, or did you?
I did base. Well, obviously, I spent 14 winters with my partner Michelle Wigley, and out of Blue River, but still coming back to the ranch to run that operations in the summer.
Yeah.
And fall.
So your parents have a ranch here.
in Kananaskis, yeah.
This is the guy in the Buffalo's got a ranch. He's still
Yeah.
running it.
Yeah.
And you're working there.
I'm running it.
So you stayed
Me and my
tight with your
sister
dad.
kind of taken
Yeah.
over running it. So my
But
dad
still.
and my mom still do quite a bit of stuff.
Sure.
It's not something that they're.
Yeah. It's
They
hard
can't-
work,
You
right?
can't sit there and not do anything, but we've got
Right,
quite a few
right.
staff in the summer and stuff. So
Sick. What does the ranch do?
we do summer trail rides, summer backcountry
Gotcha,
trips. We do a lot
gotcha.
of.
Yeah.
We have a big function and lodge for we can house weddings and stuff. We don't
Cool.
have any accommodations. There's 3 hotels just up the road.
Yep.
And a golf course. So
But a
they're mainly
venue.
for venues, for
Rad venue,
activities,
yeah.
and we put on some rodeos in the summer. And
Cool.
and then-
I got to come out for one of
Oh,
those.
for sure. And then
I'll bring my kids.
the last
That'd be
5
so
years,
fun.
we've been building. Me and my dad have been building a new museum at the ranch.
Cool.
Which is museum. It's got a lot of history from the area.
Dope.
A lot of wildlife, and then some of the native stuff and history and stuff like
How
that.
fun is that?
Yeah, so that's
How
kind of
fun
been
is
my
that?
program in the last 5 years. That's kind of been one of my side projects. It's just kind of doing all the woodwork and all the fake rock and
Yep.
different displays that are in there. So.
Yep. And are you guys tight with indigenous communities around
Yeah,
here?
we
You
were
get some
right
stuff?
next to the Stoney First Nations, and it's a whole nother topic. But
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
Canada's got a fucked up history for sure on that
Yeah.
side of things.
Yeah.
But I think, I'm just guessing here, but if you live in wilderness,
Yeah.
if you go into the wilderness, then you're going to have a mad respect
Yeah,
for the indigenous
absolutely,
communities that
for
were
sure.
here for 10,000 years.
Totally.
Rocking out this place.
Yeah.
I like, Hardingham was talking about the big red rock in Australia being
Yeah.
renamed its original name.
Right.
And I mean, I looked into what the name of Mount Seymour is,
Yeah.
what it was before. It's
Yeah.
a pretty cool name. I forget it right now. But one of the names is one of these mountains around here, I think, is Cloud Splitter. I'm
Cloud
like,
Splitter, yeah.
Fucking Cloud Splitter sounds way radder than any of these
No
names
kidding.
that we came up with. All our names are named after are named after rich white guys that came over and did
Yeah,
shitty
exactly.
shit, like
Yeah.
Mount Washington and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, the fuck are we talking about, right?
Exactly.
So yeah,
there's
that's
a
cool.
lot of
Yeah.
a lot of the old native names for different places that are really cool.
They're
And
so
they have
cool.
a lot more meaning than a lot of
Yeah.
other ones. So
Yeah, and there's so much knowledge if it's so sad that it was taken away.
Oh, yeah.
It really is. It
Yeah.
fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll see a lot of projects to help revitalize
some whatever
communities.
history is out there, right?
Yeah, and try and get some of it back. I had a guy on the show this year, James Johnson. He does native art for LibTech, and he's from Alaska. He's part of like Lando's crew.
Right.
And fuck, dude, that guy just carves up a storm, and he knows what he's doing. He's bringing it back to the youth, and everything's fucking great.
Sweet.
That's dope that you're doing a museum.
Yeah. How long are you out here for?
I'm only here till tomorrow, but I will come out in the summer. I'm gonna buy a spot up in Valemount.
Okay, yeah, you were saying
and then once I've got that, obviously coming out here it's the
I got a
spot.
lot of friends around that area. I'll give you some. Get your
Please.
number and I'll definitely.
Yeah. There's a helicopter pilot up there, Matt, that I was introduced to through Mark
Does
Fawcett.
he fly for Yellowhead?
That's correct.
Yeah.
I don't think he does now. I think he's with somebody else now. But Matt
He
from
used to.
Yellowhead, yeah, he
I
was,
wonder. Yeah, I probably know him because he
Yeah.
probably flew for Wiggly's because they were using
right.
Yellowhead.
Yeah, probably.
I may know him. I don't know.
Yeah, that's dope. Well, you had a fucking hell of a career in snowboarding.
Yeah.
How often you go now? You still go?
Oh shit! I've had a couple rough seasons. I had to get my left ankle surgery last April.
Shit.
So I missed this event, and
Yep.
then I did a trip to Jackson Hole with my girlfriend in December.
Yeah.
We went Fernie. We did a road trip from Fernie to Big Mountain,
Nice.
Big Sky,
Yeah.
Jackson.
Rad.
And then we came back up through Great Falls and saw the Charlie Russell Museum and still kind of everywhere we go now I just check out different museums.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, totally.
And awesome.
Yeah.
What a road trip. That sounds incredible.
Oh, it's just it was amazing.
Yeah.
And staying at some hunting clients of mine that have houses in Big Sky and
Dude, that's the way to do
down
it.
in Jackson. It was
That's the way to do it.
just these huge houses.
Networking with these,
Yeah,
with
the guys that I've taken in the mountains
and
hunting and stuff over the years, and it's kind of cool to go down there and check out these places that I'd been to Jackson, but not since they had a new gondola, I don't think.
Yeah, that box to the top is crazy. Right?
Yeah.
Like that terrain there.
Oh, man.
The thing about it is it's basically Revelstoke. Like they're very, very similar.
Similar, yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It's just so it's just got so much, and it's so steep. You know, it does remind me a lot of like just a straight shot to the bottom. You know,
Isn't that nuts? You could see the top from the bottom, and it's just like fucking straight
it doesn't
up.
look that far. Until
No,
you start going
and then
down
you start going. You're like, Jesus.
Oh yeah.
But the snowpack there too, like you gotta hit it when it's good.
Yeah.
You could get skunked. You could get out of that box at the top and just have a fucking icy ride down.
We got it in December, and it was like
sick.
Man,
Yeah.
it was deep. We went through the natural selection course, but it was early season, so it was gnarly.
Yeah.
It was the real deal, and I remember filming down in Jackson in the late '90s with Lance Pittman and
sick!
the
What
boys.
a dude!
Yeah, staying with those
Oh,
guys.
my God,
and,
what a dude!
And sledding with them.
Yeah.
And what a fun time that was like, and being from up here in Jackson, you know, knowing what I knew at the time of Lake Louise, Jackson wasn't out of my wheelhouse. You know, like it was
Right.
It was stuff that I was comfortable riding because it's steep around here. Like,
Yeah.
and there's rocks here.
Fuck yeah.
More, if not more.
Yeah,
than there, so.
yeah. A little more bony here than there.
But
for sure.
but at the same time, there's a lot of rocks there.
Yeah,
that,
tons. It's beautiful. It's just a beautiful
Oh.
spot, and the people down there have the same sensibility as the people up here. Like it's like a respect for nature, hunting, fishing,
totally
outdoors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a cool spot,
Yeah.
and no sales tax or something. I think.
No sales tax. Yeah, that
Fuck.
was kind of nice. Other than the lift tickets were like $260 US. a
Oh
day.
my God! Yeah, smokes were cheap. I just remember buying.
Yeah, Copenhagen was cheap.
Oh, it was
Lift
so
tickets were
cheap.
high.
Yeah, I paid $210 for a ticket at Palisades Tahoe this year, and I looked at my visa statement. It was 310 Canadian.
Yeah,
conversion.
like that 260 was pretty,
260. Yeah, that's like that's 300
50 bucks.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but
You're just.
you're on a trip like that. Who gives a shit?
That's what you have. That's the thing, right? Like, can you believe that it's gotten to that though?
Yeah.
Like those fucking ticket.
I was
prices
just up in
shitting
Alaska.
me.
I was up in Alaska last week with my buddy. I grew up with in Canmore in Banff here, and we got out of school. He got his pilot's license, and he's been a bush pilot up in Alaska, and he runs an air taxi service out of Dillingham,
Sick.
Northwest of Anchorage, I guess, and he was. So he's got his plane on skis, and he's got a hunting lodge 150 miles north. So me and my girlfriend went up there.
Wow.
Take some pictures, and help him out with. He wants to do a few weeks of sled skiing out of his cabin before his hunting season starts for Alaska brown bears. So I said, should I get a brown bear license? And he says, yeah, definitely get one. And so we, and it was reasonable. Well, it was pretty expensive. It was like $2,500 US. And he's like, we might not see one because they might still be sleeping.
Yep.
But so we did like 7 days of wicked runs on the sleds and with the airplane and the skis.
Wow.
And like those mountains are not rode by anybody. Like it's so far north and east.
This sounds like so. A lot of guests that I talked to, like Johan, he paid for himself to go back to Alaska after. It's not the same now. But this sounds like something from the fucking 90s. Like,
there's no guides, there's no skiing up there. But
and there's sleds, and you're punching holes to the top of gnarly shit.
Anything you want to get up. Yeah, like the traction was incredible.
Right.
And mountains are super smooth.
Yep.
You can get as gnarly as you want.
Wow.
But it's not the same. It's not the same as out of Haines.
And he's not selling tours. This is just because he's your buddy.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
so.
But we had some wicked days.
Wow.
And then on day 9, we seen this grizzly bear that had come out of his den, the first one. And on day 10, we shot him. And,
oh my God!
It was an intense ordeal. Like he was actually he heard our snowshoes going across the bottom of the mountain, and he came a kilometer down the mountain at us.
Oh
and
my God!
And he popped up in front of us. He was under 100 yards, and I tell you, my girlfriend was getting ready to run, but there's no trees, so you don't have anywhere to go.
Yeah, running isn't going to
so
do
it was
anything.
like we're shooting this thing, or
like,
it's over,
or it's
and it was like 10-foot square bear. And
oh my God!
Yeah, I'll have to show you some pictures.
Yeah, send me some pictures. I'll put them on the video so people can see what we were talking about. That is gnarly, dude.
So,
that's gnarly.
But it was probably 40 miles from his cabin to where we shot that bear.
Yep.
And it was minus 28 when we left on the sleds at 4 a.m.
Oof.
And when we hit this one lake, as the sun was coming up and the wind was in our face, 20 miles an hour. I haven't been that cold in a long. I've been cold in my life, and that was fucking real cold.
Yeah,
like it was like minus 58 with the wind chill.
That's fucking crazy.
Balls
cold. Fucking crazy. So, just for the sensitive listeners out there that have never hunted, these bear licenses actually pay for conservation.
Conservation,
right? Like that's how wildlife is conserved and protected.
By checking, to have the funds to go and monitor and do the census counts of how many animals there are, whether they would like to increase this numbers or decrease this numbers. And up there, a lot of it's in combination with the caribou and the wolf numbers. And if the caribou herds are declining the way they are, then they issue more bear permits.
That's it.
Because they're eating the calves. It's in spring, or the wolves are taking them down. So.
Got it. I just like to put that out there just because not everybody hunts.
And they don't understand. A lot of people are uneducated.
Most people don't understand. Because it seems like, how would shooting a bear help conserve
the wildlife?
No. But nature's a delicate balance of species and opportunities. And if you have too many of one and not enough of the other, somebody's got to manage it. And that money has to come from somewhere.
Then it's a lot of money.
It's actually a pretty cool circular system that you can buy these licenses.
Yeah, and go on an adventure hunt. In Alaska, or like in places like Alaska or Alberta or BC.
Montana's another one.
Anywhere. And that's you're paying for that well-managed wildlife, and it doesn't just benefit the hunters; it benefits everybody that's out there, right?
Right.
And, that's where a lot of anti-hunting organizations actually take away from the wildlife because they're not supporting it the way that hunters are.
Right.
And they're not in support of managing the wildlife.
Right.
They're in support of just letting nature take its course, which is in worst case scenario, we don't have any.
Right.
If you just let nature take its course, then
Sure.
Because of how things are, right?
Well, especially with human interactions.
So
and,
that's the
yeah.
that's the thing. So, but that's.
So did someone have a fucking license for the grizzly, or was that
I
an
did.
emergency?
I had the license for the grizzly.
Fuck.
Which,
So do you
which
get
again
the?
was
Do you get the?
$2,500 US to get the license?
Holy fuck! So do
Yeah.
you get the bear?
Yeah, I got the bear. I get the bear when it's got to go to a tannery and it's
Yep.
got an export permit
Yep.
and CITES permit, and then they can send it to me.
That is a fucking.
And I'm gonna get it life-size mounted, tearing into the side of a teepee inside my museum.
I love it. I fucking love it. That's
With
so
some natives
awesome.
inside going, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, unbelievable, dude. Yeah. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy killer.
Yeah.
I mean, not what you expected, obviously, when you went up there.
No,
But-
no. He kind of because he had clients coming in after us, after we were there, but he's kind of was trying to fill that 2 weeks before the hunting season when he's getting his cabin ready to go
And have some fun. Have a
have
fucking
some fun.
old
And
buddy
he's
come up. And,
he's from the mountains, and he was the ski racer when we were growing up, and
Sick.
and from Banff and Cameron, and he was always we've always hung out and.
For a lot of snowboarders, for myself, I was never in anything else.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have these, like this thing to fall back on, right? Like,
Yeah.
so when you stop snowboarding, a lot of people get a desk job and just sit, and they're kind of like fucking get bummed.
Yeah.
But for all you guys from here, you still can interact with the outdoors
Yeah, through some form if you're still here.
in a regular
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it wasn't like you didn't come to the mountains because of snowboarding.
No.
You snowboarded because you're
Yeah.
from the mountains.
From the mountains, yeah. I mean,
That's
my
fucking
grandfather, I'm a third generation from the mountains,
Wow.
and so, yeah. I mean, my son is 4, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did your father and what did the guy on the Buffalo think about snowboarding? Was he ever like, what
Oh, yeah,
the
he
fuck
was-
are you doing?
Yeah, no.
Or-
I played hockey when I was younger, and
Yeah.
and then slowly. Because of the ski hills, I had Fortress Mountain. I don't know if anybody's talked to you about Fortress Mountain.
Yeah.
Like,
First
where
mountain. to allow
my
snowboarding.
house is in between Fortress and Nikiska.
Oh, cool.
And like Fortress, I live closer to Fortress than anybody.
Yeah.
Like anybody that was going to Fortress had to go to past my house.
Sick.
So I could just walk out on the road, and anybody going to Fortress would pick me up.
That's so
And I
dope.
did that for years, like
Yeah.
from when I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
I could just walk out on the road and going that way. Anybody, because the road closes south of our place,
Right.
for the winter.
Yep.
So nobody's going down there just for the day, typically.
Right.
They would all be going to Fortress, and
That's a killer.
yeah, that's where I learned most of my moves in snowboarding, because it was always better snow.
Yep.
And lots of wind.
Yep.
Would load up these quarter pipes and features that
Killer.
we cut out, and just learned all kinds of, and
Yeah.
learned a lot about avalanches and rocks too.
Who were your guys that you rode with at Fortress?
Be like Emery Stoser, Bob Covey, Eric Faubert, Kelly Skovanek.
Dope.
Anybody, and it was always free for,
Yep.
for the most part. Like a lot of my friends when they were 16, 17, we had ways around getting on that mountain for free, and the staff didn't give a shit either. And like just getting on a T-bar while it's moving this way, and
Yeah.
fucking you're once you got over to the backside, then you could pretty much yo-yo a lot of shit.
That's
And,
awesome.
It was a really cool mountain, and I've since it's closed, I've only been up there. I haven't snowboarded up there. I've just gone up there hunting and stuff. And
They're working on opening it again? Is somebody working on
like
it?
they're gonna work on opening it until the fucking cows come home. That's all for fucking filming movies.
Yeah,
They're not gonna
yeah.
fucking ever open it.
Yeah,
ever
yeah.
fucking open it.
Nah,
It's never
man.
gonna open. But they've got a pretty good thing going up there. If you watch any of those new Netflix series, they're all filmed up there.
That like Lost in Space thing and all that?
I don't
or
know about
whatever it is?
that,
Yeah.
but I know like Last of Us.
Yep.
the zombie show.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, cool.
Another one we were
Is up at Fortress. Is Derek Height's company filming
Yeah,
that
Derek
stuff?
Derek and Patterson were at the ranch. They,
Yeah.
they film sometimes they film out of our ranch too.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sick.
Yeah. So
No way.
Yeah, they filmed
Oh,
lots
that's
of
fucking
stuff at the
awesome.
ranch.
Okay, so this is what I want to get Derek to do, and he laughed about it, and I don't know how serious he was about it. I cannot believe no one's done this yet.
What?
I want to use one of their camera lifting drones.
Yeah.
To throw a chairlift on the bottom of it.
Oh, yeah.
And film one of those Red Bull kind of stunt things where, there's the fucking, all of a sudden you're in the middle of nowhere and the guy's on a chairlift. You're kind of following him thinking, okay, chairlift, I don't see any other chairlifts. And then all of a sudden it just goes up in the air to a fucking mountain way over there.
Oh, yeah.
And then it just drops us off and then films us on the way down.
Just makes a little
Like-
get a guy on it.
Oh, fuck, 2 guys on it.
You
yeah.
can lift that much?
You can lift that much, no problem. Yeah, so I talked, I was like, do you have one that can lift that much? He's like, we sure do. I'm like, well, you
Why
know.
don't they do trips like that?
Well, I guess
See?
it's fucking, it's like Transport Canada or something.
Do they do
yeah.
it in the States?
No,
Oh,
nowhere.
wouldn't that be cool?
Okay, listen, no one's ever done it before. I'm saying like
Shit.
no human on Earth has sat on a chair that's attached to a drone that took them
buddy
somewhere.
sitting at the bottom flies you up there.
Right.
Dropped in that line.
Yeah, drop me here. Could you
Did you
imagine?
tell
how good-
Andrew about this?
No.
Holy shit.
We should do a 4-chair, and I want to be on it. The thing is, I want to be on the chair.
Oh, you're on the
that's
chair.
the thing. I
Yeah.
want to be on the chair. I want to do the fucking.
That would
thing.
open up a few new doors for.
Would it not? Like
If you don't have to, if you don't have to have one foot unbuckled,
right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's something that is real, and someone's going to do it in our lifetime.
Jesus,
someone's
man,
going to do it in the next couple
get
of
rid
years.
of helicopters
For sure.
altogether.
Yeah, because if this is battery powered, you're zero gas emissions, and helicopters are fucking so expensive.
Yeah, they
These
are.
guys are building their drones. They're expensive drones, but they're not that expensive.
But they can
Not
they
millions
can
of
lift that
dollars.
much.
They could definitely lift.
Yeah,
that
I'm not
much.
very tech savvy, so
2,000 pounds or something. He said he's got one that's 2,000 pounds. You have to have redundancy, so it needs to
Right.
be able to lift twice that.
Right.
But
Just in case.
The 2,000 pound one was like it's small, like this table size.
and it could lift 2,000 pounds.
Yeah, man.
Really?
Yeah.
So why not?
So why not?
So-
They're.
Fly me up there.
He said, "Trust me, we're working on it." I was
Good.
like, "Well, when you do it, I want to be there,
It'll
even
happen
if it's
at
just
Fortress
watching
first, I
it."
bet.
Fucking Fortress. That's the spot to do it.
Yeah.
That's
Pick
the
me
fucking
up
spot
when
to
you're
do it.
driving up there, and
Okay.
I'll come.
Yeah, we'll do it for
We could
sure.
fly up from my house.
Oh my God, that's it. That's it. We have to do it.
Let's do that.
We have to
Tell
do it.
Derek.
Yep.
Yeah. That me and you were on the first chair. He can
Yes.
base out of the ranch. I'll let him stay there
Oh
for
my
free.
God. Yeah,
Yep.
we're doing this.
Oh,
This
yeah.
Let's try and do it before someone else does it because it's going to
Totally.
be a viral video 100%. So we can get somebody else to pay for it. Some
Totally.
Monster Energy, Red Bull,
Yeah.
who gives a shit
Yeah.
person
Yeah.
can pay for this thing because it's going to go insanely viral.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Well, no shit. Why didn't they think of this a long time ago?
I'm sure people have thought of it. There was one guy who pulled himself on a water ski rope behind
Right.
one, and then it lifted him in the air, and he was like just hanging on a
fuck.
water ski rope, which it looked insane, and he was in a Santa suit. This is years and
Was
years
he
ago.
flying it himself?
I don't
No,
know.
I don't think he
No,
could.
someone else must have been flying it. He just hung on. Yeah. Yeah. So no, but what I want to do is like legit, like make it look like a fucking Red Bull stunt, like that
Right.
guy who rode the fucking motorbike out onto the surf waves.
Right.
You know, like that kind of shit.
Oh, yeah.
We need to do that.
Ride the shark.
Yeah, ride the fucking shark. Like, obviously. And we need to do it at Fortress, which is the first place in Canada to have a fucking, to allow, I think it was one of the first places in Canada to allow just open, like you can snowboard here. It's fine. Go on the lifts. So now it's going to be the first place in the world to have
That would be amazing.
a fucking
I would say,
drone chairlift.
yeah, like if you just had a row of drones going up the hill.
Well, if it was on, see, the thing is, if it was,
He had them on a pattern.
if
They
it
just
was
came
on
down.
a cable-ish thing or something like that, like,
And it just went around. It got
Yeah.
it down here and it just flew around like it was on a chair. Picked you up and it went.
Yeah,
Straight to the top. And it'll be like, here comes mine.
yeah, exactly.
This is me and you.
That would be so fucking sick.
You wouldn't have to worry about it coming around because it would just.
Yeah,
just
we got to do it. Well, I'm calling.
That's
I'm calling.
That's
I'm
the place
texting
to do
Derek
it. You
right
don't
now.
even have
Yeah.
to. You don't even
Yeah.
have to. It doesn't have to be like heli skiing.
No.
It's just to get you to the top of a run.
That's it.
And it's
That's
just
it.
like,
yeah.
oh fuck, my
People won't believe it. That's the
my
thing.
chair went rogue today. You wouldn't believe it. Went way over here, dropped me in the sickest spot.
I fucking love
Just seen where those two guys ended up earlier. I don't know if the drone must have gone sideways.
it. All right, let's wrap it up.
Yep.
Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for being a
And-
Canadian legend.
Yep.
And I'm definitely feeling like I'm going to see a lot more of you. in the
Yeah, you better
future,
pop
man.
in. Definitely.
I will for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Really
Jonas.
nice meeting you.
Yeah, nice meeting you too, dude. FNRad shoutouts this week to Andrew and Jonas. Special thanks to Kendra from Sunshine Village. If you haven't checked out the For Love of Winter podcast, head there now. They've been up and running for weeks and are delivering consistent episodes that you'll love on your drive up the mountain. And if you want to try New Greens for free, tag 2 friends and New Greens on any FNRad Instagram or YouTube post, and we'll get those out to you. We'll get you those greens. Be sure to come back next week for another episode of FNRad Snowboarding, presented by Skyview Campers and brought to you by FNRad Productions.